Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Alright, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on inheritance in C++. That said, last stream I did go over, I actually forgot what I went over. I went over friend functions and friend classes. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen. Okay, and then let's say something like, let's say, okay, I'm live, exclamation. Okay, let's see. Listen up, chat. Listen well. This is the sound of dedication, the return of a warrior who refuses to rot in comfort. My people, Vivek has come back to the arena, bruised by assignments, scared by exams, but unbroken. Every single one of you watching, remember this: steel will never become a sword without being burnt or beaten. Guys, this was definitely not said by Sarah Sensei. Howding, Rishi, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining this stream. And today we forge again. Now, brace yourself because we're diving into the power of inheritance, one of the cornerstones of object-oriented programming. This is where classes pass down their traits, where knowledge and struggle flow through generations. Okay, so firstly, what is inheritance? I've been in your stream since your Python celebration creation. Honestly, that's really cool. I actually appreciate that so much. Okay, that said, inheritance is when one class, the child or derived class, inherits the properties and behaviors of another class. Okay, the parent or base class. I have learned about inheritance in C++. That said, let's see if it's a bit different in, I have learned about inheritance in Python. Let's see if it's different in C++. Okay, that said, it allows you to it allows you to reuse code, extend functionalities, and build hierarchies that reflect real-world relationships. Example, a vehicle class can have general features like speed and fuel. A car class can inherit from the vehicle class and add features like number of doors or ACs. Basic syntax. Okay, so this is how the syntax works. Here's how inheritance is written in C++. So we go ahead and create a base class. Then we go with something like a public and then a void display base function or method. Okay, then we add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says I'm from the base class, and then we go outside our class and type class derived. Okay, so is derived like a keyword or we're creating another class? I'm pretty sure we're creating another class. Okay, then why do we add in a colon here? Does the colon mean in? Okay, like class derived in public or base class, and then we go with something like public. Oh, this is a different class. This is a specific class of its own. Okay, we go with something like void display derived standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm from derived class. Okay, let's break that down. Class derived with a colon of public base means derived inherits publicly from base now. Okay, from base. Now, derived objects can use both their own members and the public members of the base. Okay, access mode and inheritance. So, this is what makes C++ different from Python. Access control. So we go with something like access mode. Public members of base become. Okay, then we go with protected members become and private members become. So for access mode, public, protected, not accessible. So we can access private members. Okay, protected. Okay, we can protect it. Okay, I think maybe I see. So public, protected, and private inheritance each control how accessible inherited members are in the class. Constructors and destructors. When a derived object is created, the base class constructor runs first, then the derived class constructor runs when destroyed. Okay, the derived class destructor runs first, then the base class destructor runs. Okay, C++ handles inheritance like a chain. The topmost base class is built first and destroyed last. A sample example, so we include IOStream, then we create a animal class with a public void method called eat. Okay, that says this animal eats food. Then we create another class that's basically inheriting from our animal class. Okay, so it can just inherit like the public stuff. Okay, then we go with something like void bark console output. Okay, then we create a main function. We create a dog object. We go with the d.eats or dog object.eat inherited from the animal class. Okay, and then we go with something like d.bark. Oh, I see how this works. This animals eat food. The dog barks. Okay, that's the foundation. Next, I'll teach you about protected members, multi-level inheritance, and function overriding. But first, people, show me your focus. Do you want me to give you do you want me to go over access levels with a visual? Honestly, I think I'm ready for a few instructional based questions. Let's say something like, let's say I had a question first before we do instructional based questions, Okay, so basically my question was, let's go with shift enter and say something like, so in Python, when we inherit we do something like, let's say something like animal class. So animal inheriting from my animal class, or I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like a class of cat. Let's change that. There we go. So I'll change that to be a class of cat. There we go. That is gonna be inheriting from my animal class. So I'll go with something like animal. There we go. Okay, then I'll go with ... and then add a shift enter and say something like, although is that what it means in C++ when we do something like we create an animal class. So first we create a animal parent class, then we create a dog class and add a colon and our parent class's name. Okay, ... So is the colon and our parent class's name the same as this? Okay, let's go ahead and copy that, guys. I don't know how it's gonna understand this. I'm making this sound real weak because I have a hard time phrasing this. Okay, yo, hiding soul, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, let's add a question mark. Let's see. Okay, excellent question, my people. Yes, you're absolutely right. That's the protected connection. That's the perfect connection between Python and C++. When you write this in Python, cat class, which inherits from animal class, it means the cat class inherits from the animal, exactly like saying cat is an animal. In C++, the same relationship is expressed like this. So we go with cat class, we go with public animal. I see. So yes, that colon followed by the parent class means the same thing as a parentheses in Python syntax. It declares that cat is inheriting from animal, but there's only one key difference that separates the amateurs from the true C++ masters. C++ adds access mode right after the colon, okay, like this. So cat class, okay. C++ accesses mode, okay, so we go with cat class and then we go with something like cat class that is private animal and protected. Honestly, I should have learned to protected. I'm so stupid. I went over like public and private. However, I didn't go over protected. I might learn about that this stream. Okay, that word of public, private, protected tells C++ how much access the derived class should have to the parents as members. Python doesn't have that because in Python everything's public by default. C++ is stricter. It demands you to declare how the inheritance should behave. So in short, colon in C++ equals to a pair of parentheses in Python for inheritance, plus C++ adds access specifiers for control. I see. Howding, Ankume, I appreciate you joining the stream. And guys, if I do pronounce you guys now, you guys could like actually type your pronunciation because I am pretty awful at pronouncing names. That said, are you ready to jump into instructional based questions? Let's say something like, yes, let's say, do you have music in the background or my ears are ringing? I do have music. It is a pretty light music though. That's it, good. That's the spirit, pupil. Then let's fortify that brain of yours with access specifiers, the true gatekeepers of inheritance. Access specifiers. Okay, I needed an instructional based question. Let's go all the way down. Okay, let's say something like, ready for the question. Let's say, guys, I'm ready for the question. Excellent, pupil. That's what I want to hear. You've learned. Okay, you've learned. Now you prove it with action. So here's our instructional based question. So our mission is to create two classes. First is going to be a base class called vehicle. The second is going to be a derived class called car that inherits publicly. Okay, so that's our parent class. That's our child class requirements. Vehicle should have a protected variable of speed. Okay, honestly, let's say something like, let's say, before I do the question, I have learned about the private and public. although I didn't go over the protected ... So before we start this question, can you teach me about the protected ? Okay, let's see. Ankit, remember me? Honestly, I do remember you. How are you doing? Okay, good. That's the kind of discipline I demand from you people. Okay, listen closely. Public, accessible inside class, accessible derived class, accessible outside class, protected, accessible inside the class, accessible in derived class, not accessible outside the class. I see. Okay, so what does that mean? A protected member behaves like private, but with only one exception. It can be accessed by derived class. Oh, I see. So protected. Okay, I see. So we go ahead and create a base class called protected. Okay, and then a public base. Okay, this is I'm assuming this is my class. That's my base class that has protected value, which is 10, and that class derived base. Okay, I see. Okay, think of it like this. Private equals my secret, no one else touches it. Protected equals to my children can know about my secret, but outsiders can't. Public, everyone can see it. Why is this useful? Because protected is perfect for inheritance-based designs. You can let derived classes build on your internal data, but still keep it safe from the outside world. Example, okay, we go with protected integer of health and then a public character. Okay, this is our constructor. And then a class warrior that inherits from our character class. We go with a public void take damage. The basis constructor. Honestly, that does make sense. I actually forgot about that for a second. Okay, not in C++. Oh, I see. Okay, now the warrior change. Okay, let's say something like, I see, let's say, ... Can I get a question now on inheritance? Okay, let's see. We have pure virtual class, same as abstract. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. Good. Okay, so our instructional based question is we create a base class called creature with a protected variable called energy, which is going to be an integer, and then we create a public function called set energy with a parameter of integer e that assigns the value of energy, and a public function called display energy that prints my energies as value. Create a derived class called dragon that inherits publicly from creatures at a private variable called firepower. Okay, the type is going to be an integer, and then I gotta add a public function called setFire that has a integer of f parameter, and then I gotta create another public function called attack that decreases energy by 10. You can access it because it's protected. Okay, print something like dragon attacks with firepower, remaining energy. Then in my main function, I got to create an object called dragon, set its energy and firepower, call the attack twice, finally display and show the remaining energy. Okay, let's get sensei/chatgpt here. That's it. This is the code from last stream. I didn't have time to work off stream, so let's go ahead and delete all this. And let me start off by including a pair of anchor braces. I want to include IO stream. Okay, and then let's read the instructions again. So it says create a base class called creature. So let's go ahead and create a base class called creature. There we go. And then I'll add a pair of curly braces. This is going to be my parent class, bro, using ChatGPT. Honestly, I've been using ChatGPT slash sensei ever since I did start my programming journey. That said, it says to create a protected variable called energy. So let's go ahead and create a protected data member. So I'll go with protected. Okay, and then add a colon. This is going to be an integer of energy, so I'll go with integer energy. There we go, ending with a semicolon. How you doing, Monster? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, then I gotta publicize everything, so let's go ahead and public everything from here on out. And then I gotta create a function called set energy. Although before I do that, let me actually create a constructor. This is gonna be public. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and create a constructor now. Did I spell it wrong? Maybe I go with public. There we go. Oh, this is going to be a semicolon. There we go. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and create a constructor. So I'll add a comment that says something like constructor. Probably not the best way to learn, but hey, it works, so I don't see a problem. Honestly, it does make sense. From C++ installation to C++ class concepts keep growing, buddy. I appreciate you, Monster. Line 5 is wrong. Honestly, I actually added a colon by mistake. That said, this is going to be a constructor. There we go. Okay, so for my constructor, let's go ahead and initialize my protected data type. So I'm going to be creating a constructor for my creature class, add a pair of parentheses. My creature class or my constructor will have a parameter of energy. There we go. And then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Inside of my pair of curly braces, I'm going to do something like this energy data type is going to be equal to my energy parameter ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and read the next instructions. So I got to create a few methods now. Although since I did say functions, but functions inside of classes are called methods. So let's go ahead and create a few methods. Okay, I like your program though. I appreciate you. Jason, is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, Indian programmers, the best programmers and tutors or tutorials. Guys, that actually does make sense because although I haven't like watched much tutorials. That said, let's go ahead and create a few methods now. So I'll go with methods. Okay, then inside my methods, I'm going to be creating a method called set energy. So let's go ahead and create a void method called set energy. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. I will be having a parameter of E, which is energy. Okay, next up, let's see. Okay, so create a public method called set energy that assigns a value to the energy that assigns a value to my energy. Huh, isn't that the same as just setting my energy from here? Or maybe I ask the user for it. Don't use like that. It looks ugly. Name protected energy, something like M energy. Huh, don't use this like that. Looks ugly. Name protected energy, something like M energy. Okay, I could go with something like M energy. Okay, then let's go ahead and change this. Honestly, I'm kind of lazy to do that. That's it. I might try that from the next question, bro. What are you making? Honestly, I'm learning the basics of inheritance. Okay, so inside of my set energy, I assign a value. So let's go with something like my energy. There we go. My energy data member is going to be equal to something like, let's say 200, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I gotta create another method called display energy that prints the energy. So let's go ahead and create another void method called something like display energy. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces, my display energy. I'm Indian, by the way. Oh, I see. Okay, you can get free subdomain. Honestly, I haven't heard of that. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like energy. Okay, actually in a pair of double quotes. There we go. So energy, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of my energy data member. Okay, with another with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, you see high log. Honestly, I actually can't read Hindi, guys. Like, I should actually learn different languages. Okay, that said, this is basically it for my class. So let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon and then okay, so create a derived class, basically a child class named Dragon. So let's go ahead and create a child class called Dragon. Okay, my Dragon class does inherit from my creature class. Okay, it's going to inherit all my protected members from my creature class. That inherits publicly from creatures, so not protectedly. Okay, let's go with something like public in that case. Okay, so public creature class. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Actually, a pair of curly braces. There we go. Okay, Indian Lemon Yamal, guys. I've been hearing that name so much. I like looked him up like the other day. He was like apparently a soccer player because like so many of you guys do compare me. You're like, you guys look the same. I'm like, oh, actually. Okay, next up, I gotta create a private variable called firepower. So let's go ahead and create private. Okay, so a private data type called firepower, which is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like integer of firepower, ending with a semicolon. And then I gotta create a public function called set firepower. Okay, although before I do create a public function, let's go ahead and add a constructor. So I'll go with something like public, and then let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like constructor. Okay, so I'll go with constructor. There we go. Okay, no set energy should also be this energy equals to E. Huh, honestly, set energy should be something like this energy equals to E. Okay, set energy. Honestly, I haven't like created setters yet. Okay, well, I just said as many of them as needed from their work. Also, getting things for free is great. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. He's doing web dev. He doesn't need any of that right now. Oh, I see. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a constructor. For my constructor, actually, let's capitalize this first. There we go. Okay, now for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my dragon class, which is going to be having a parameter of firepower. Should I actually add a parameter of firepower? I think I should. So let's go with something like integer of firepower. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces and initialize my data members. So I'll go with something like this firepower is going to be equal to my firepower parameter. Okay, whoops. So I'll go with something like fire. There we go, ending with a semicolon. So this firepower data member equals to my firepower parameter, ending with a semicolon. Although, why is it showing me a red underline here? Let's see. Okay, so I go with something like this. Firepower, dragon, integer of firepower. I'm pretty sure I did it correct. Why do I see like a red underline here? Because like I did the same thing here. Did I spell dragon wrong? So dragon. Okay, isn't this how we do it? Okay, I think I'll check on that later. That said, I'll add another comment that says something like methods. For my methods, I'm going to be creating a, let's see, a set firepower method with a parameter of integer that's going to be f. So I'll go with something like a void method. You need to initialize parent class constructor. How do I initialize my parent class constructor? Okay, honestly, I haven't like looked into that. Although I'll actually like do it the way that I actually whatchamacallit understand first, and I'll say ChatGPT the parts that I was missing, and then I'll like work on those parts if that made any sense, guys. Okay, so I'll go with something like void set firepower. So with a pair of parentheses, this is going to be having an integer of f parameter, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. So what this function should do. Okay, so add a public function called set firepower that doesn't do anything. Okay, actually, should I set a firepower? I could do something like my firepower data member is going to be equal to something like, I don't know, maybe 500, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I go ahead and create another function called attack. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a void attack function with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, when derived class constructor is created, it must call parent class constructor as well. How do I call the parent class constructor? Should I like create another constructor for my creature class? Honestly, I haven't like learned about that. I actually might check into that. Try using super. I have actually used super in like Python, although does it even exist in C++? I've like never heard about super in C++. Okay, that said, so I decrease my energy by 10. You can access it because it's protected. So let's go ahead and decrease my energy data member. I can access it by 10. So I'm going to minus it by 10, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and print something like dragon attacks with firepower remaining. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Derived integer a and integer b base. Okay, integer a and integer b. Honestly, I feel like in the chat it makes it sound more confusing. Okay, that's it. I'll actually look into that as well. But before that, I'll go with something like it should be base integer a. I see. Okay, so I'll go with something like dragon attacks. Okay, dragon attacks with firepower. Okay, and then I'm going to go in a new line. Let's go ahead and enter. There we go. Okay, dragon attacks with firepower of my firepower. I'm going to call my variable or my data member with another insertion operator that is going to say something like exclamation and then remaining. Okay, let's go with something like remaining energy. So I'll go with remaining energy is going to be my energy data member. So I'll go with another insertion operator of my energy data member with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. So pass firepower in as well. Okay, I see that actually does make sense. Firepower equals 500 is wrong. It should be F. Oh, okay, that does actually make sense. I set a value for my F. That was kind of stupid. Which language? Honestly, it is C++. That's it. How are you doing? Shreyash, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's pretty much it for my class. I gotta go ahead and create a main function now. So let's go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. What if user calls attack before setting firepower? Before setting, honestly, I'm not like asking user input for this question. I did like keep this instructional question a bit basic so I can get a grasp of how things work. That said, let's create an object called dragon. So the dragon object is gonna be from my dragon class. This is gonna be dragon1 with a pair of parentheses, and I'll need a parameter of firepower. I'll go with something like 500, ending with a semicolon, and then set its energy and firepower. Okay, so when I create a dragon class, I need a firepower parameter. Maybe I'm doing like something wrong. Okay, that's it. Let's go with a controller. Control C. I want to copy that. I'm new to C++. Oh, I see. That actually sounds pretty cool. Like, guys, I'm new as well. Okay, honestly, I did mess up. I don't want to like mess up even more because I'll actually forget what I messed up. So I want to ask it real quick. Let's say something like, let's say I feel like I messed up. Dot dot dot. Okay, and I did have a few questions. Dot dot dot. Okay, someone from my stream said me to add my creature class to my constructor of my child class slash dragon class. Okay, slash dragon class dot dot dot. I don't think that I understood that properly. Okay, and I feel like I made a few more mistakes. Okay, let's see. Waiting for Python, guys. I do have about like I think 100 streams on Python, or like about 100 streams on Python, because I did have like a Python for a 100-day series. Okay, okay. Where my goal by the end of that series was to make a game in general. I was done with that series like I think about 40 days ago. Okay, so now how much do you already know? Honestly, I feel like I do know quite a bit. Okay, like the basics. I'm in 8th grade. Oh, I see. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, good. You notice your own mistakes. That's how a real programmer trains. I'm proud of the awareness, people. But now it's time for me to break this down and show you why things aren't working the way you think. Let's dissect this step by step. So your constructors are mismatched. You wrote something like creature, so we create a creature class that has a public creature. Okay, that is a public creature constructor. That means whenever you create a creature class or any class that inherits from it, C++ expects an integer argument for that constructor. But in your dragon class, you wrote something like Okay, problem. You never call the creature constructor from inside the dragon class from inside the dragon constructor. And since creature requires an integer energy to be passed, your compiler will complain because it doesn't know how to initialize the parent part of the dragon. I see. Okay, how to fix it and why? Okay, so you must explicitly call the parent constructor and using a initializer list like the dragon integer firepower. Okay, with a colon. Okay, I'm assuming the colon is like an initializer list. Creature 100. Oh, I see. Okay, this firepower data member equals to my firepower parameter, and then that colon creature 100 runs the creature constructor first, giving it an initial energy value. Think of it like this: the parent creature is born first. The child dragon awakens with its own powers. If you don't do that, that parent can't initialize its protected variables properly. Your set energy function ignores its arguments. Okay, I should have added a parameter here. My bad, guys. Okay, that should be E. Otherwise, it doesn't matter the values that you pass it. It's always set to 200. In your main function, you never use energy or power. Okay, I see. So I gotta go dragon energy, and then I gotta set its energy, attack, and the display energy. Okay, here's what happens. Okay, I think I see. Let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Are you programming code to make people not redeem it? Don't use ChatGPT teaches you bad code. Honestly, I have been like using ChatGPT ever since I started programming. I think it's pretty useful actually when it comes to learning stuff. Okay, that said, the only mistake that I did do and make your own stuff, of course. Oh, I see. If you're still learning, I suggest you to Google same stuff you study in class to learn depth. Honestly, I haven't like taken any programming courses. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add a constructor for my creature class as well. So I'll go ahead and add my creature class. And then a pair of parentheses. Okay, my creature's constructor takes a parameter of energy. I'm gonna go with something like 200 energy, or yeah, go ahead and add 200 energy. There we go. Okay, now my constructor of my child class does inherit my parent class's constructor as well. Using ChatGPT for learning is bad. Honestly, it does work, so I feel it's kind of fine. Yeah, Lamel, Yamal, you guys, I get that so much. Okay, let's see. Are you programming to go to? Okay, next up, inside of my main function, I go ahead and create a dragon object, and then let's do something like dragon one dot. Let's say set energy. I want to set the energy to be something like maybe 400. Okay, let's go with something like 400. Let's see what all parameters does it require. Okay, so I needed firepower actually. So firepower. Okay, so let's go with something like maybe do I even need a parameter for display energy? Oh, I went with display energy. I had to go with set energy. There we go. Okay, that's gonna be something like 400, ending with a semicolon. Then let's do something like dragon1.attack. Okay, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with something like dragon1.attack again, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go with dragon1.display energy. How much energy is remaining currently? Okay, and lastly, let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. Howdy, Malawik, is that pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Have you, hey, do you have LinkedIn? Honestly, I don't have, like, LinkedIn. Okay, how old are you? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That's it. I am so close to turning 18. Kind of excited for that. Just copy-paste other people's bad code together and hope it works, huh? Okay, do you have a LinkedIn? Honestly, I didn't like get LinkedIn yet. That's it. Explain me what is constructor. I have an exam tomorrow. Basically, what a constructor is. Are you an AI, guys? I'm actually a real human. That's it. Basically, what a constructor is like when we create objects. The constructor is the stuff that I do use here, because like if my constructor requires one parameter, then I must add one parameter here, and if it requires no parameters, then I don't need to add a parameter here. That said, it says dragon attacks with firepower 500, remaining energy 390, 380. That's the current energy. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the controller. Control C, copy that. Good, since they saw ChatGPT here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, that actually works. Yes, finally, people, this is what I want to see. Clean, logical, and powerful. Look at that code. You correctly called the base constructor with creature. The dragon is properly inheriting. Okay, set energy now uses the arguments of a hard-coded value. Attack properly accesses energy because it's protected. The main function fully tests your object. Energy set. Attack happens. Add remaining energy is displayed. If you run this, your output will be dragon to Okay, this is textbook protected inheritance. The dragon can modify energy outside code, can't touch it directly. Let people let me hug you through the screen. You've heard this, guys. That did not make me blush. But don't get comfortable. Mastery means pushing further. Next step, we can do multi-inheritance. Honestly, I want to say something like, since are you in the USA? Honestly, yeah. Okay, that's it. Let's say something like, let's say, impressive stuff. I appreciate you, Aryan. Is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, you didn't have nothing on GitHub? Honestly, I did install GitHub, but that's it. I am kind of busy, so I didn't like have time to actually learn how to use GitHub. Bring your real life to your voice. Bro, bring your real life. Your voice gave me some girl vibes, guys. I'm actually not a girl. I'm a real guy. That said, you're very talented with computer. Please don't lose your dream. Honestly, I appreciate you, Kim. I actually won't lose it, guys. Someday we're gonna be real big. Okay, so I'm failing then. Failing, honestly, I think like constructors are pretty easy. Let's say something like, say, I honestly do you want to work on questions in this exact same level until it's not a muscle memory, okay, before I move on. Honestly, guys, because I do need enough practice before moving on. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to say that a lot, but many of you guys did say me to like avoid saying that. That said, why do you say honestly everything? Honestly, guys, I don't actually know. I should like stop saying honestly. So class actually doesn't exist in memory. When you create an object, it'll call constructor implicitly. Oh, that actually does make sense. Constructor is used to set a default value for required variable in class, and memory is allocated. I see. Okay. Finally, some discipline. That's the attitude that separates warriors from amateurs. You want to grind this until it's in your bones. Good, I respect that, people. Here's your next instructional-based question. At the same level, focusing on protected inheritance and public access again. Challenge 2, wizard and spells. So I got to create a base class called wizard, also known as parent class. that has a protected data member called mana, which is an integer, and then I gotta create a public function called setMana with a parameter of m, which is an integer as well, to assign a value. Okay, then I gotta create another method called displayMana to print my mana. Okay, and then I gotta create a derived class called fireWizard. Derived class is also like my child class. What's polymorphism? Honestly, I have learned about polymorphism in like Python, although I haven't started that in C++. Hey, you got a really good accent, bro. I appreciate you, Maria. That actually means a lot, because many of you guys do say my accent does sound fake, although I'm like, you guys, it's almost impossible to fake accent if like we speak for hours. Okay, that said, I go ahead and create a private data member called firepower which is going to be an integer, and then I create a public method called setFirepower with an integer of f, and then a public method again called castSpell that decreases my mana by 15, access protected variable. Okay, and then it prints something like fireWizard cast a spell with power, fire, remaining mana is mana. And then I create a main function that creates a wizard object, sets mana and firepower, cast spell twice, and display the remaining mana. Okay, in which grade are you? Honestly, I did like start college. That said, you sound like computer genius. Guys, I'm actually not genius. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and control it, delete everything. Overloading, overriding, virtual function, etc. are forms of polymorphism. Oh, I see. Honestly, you should take a spelling class for babies. Guys, actually, yeah, I'm really bad with typos. I feel like my typos is insane. How do you improve your accent, man? Honestly, I feel like this has been my accent like for a long time. It depends, like, if you like stay with people that say like a specific accent, then like eventually you do get used to that accent and like it becomes like a genuine accent. Okay, that said, let's start off by including are you streamed? Okay, and then let me go ahead and read the instructions. So it says to create a class called wizard. So let's go ahead and create a parent class called wizard. There we go. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces, and then inside of my wizard class, I gotta create a protected data type. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a protected data type called something like mana, which is gonna be an integer ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicalize everything. So I'll go with something like public. And then let's create a constructor. Okay, so I'll go with something like a constructor. There we go. For my constructor, I'm going to create a constructor for my wizard class. So I'll go with something like wizard, a pair of parentheses. My wizard class is going to be taking a parameter of mana. And then let's go ahead and initialize that. So I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Type something like this mana data member equals to my mana parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, just loving your accent, bro. I appreciate you, Mario. Okay, were you born in US or came at an early age? Guys, I think like I can't actually say that. Okay, Mario, live with American people. Can't go over it. Boy, if this is a game where it's user input, honestly, I do want to work with user inputs as well, like using inheritance. Although, guys, I think I should like learn the basics first. Okay, you got good hair. I appreciate you, Melvin. Okay, but okay, can you teach me C make? Honestly, is that like a library? Because I've like used the C math library, ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a few methods. So I'll go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a method called setMana that has a parameter of integer, which is an m. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a void method. So I'll go with something like void, a pair of parentheses. Honestly, let's go with something like setMana first. Okay, then I'll go with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. My setMana method is going to be having a parameter of m. Okay, there we go. Okay, to assign a value, honestly, in that case, I might not actually need a, a pair of curly braces. Let's just end that with a semicolon. CMake is a build system. Oh, I see. That actually does make sense. I have American accent too, but when I hear people with good accent, I really do appreciate them. That does mean a lot to me, Maya. I appreciate you. Okay, and then let's see. I gotta create another void function called displayMana. So let's go ahead and create a void method. My bad, guys. So displayMana. Okay, so I'll go with something like displayMana. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. So let's see what it does. To print mana values, so I could go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like mana with another insertion operator. This is going to be my mana data member ending with a semicolon. Okay, honestly, let's add a /new line as well. There we go. Okay, CMake is not a build system. CMake is a build generator, build system, or make Ninja Visual Studio. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and end my class with a semicolon as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and create a child class or a derived class. This is going to be called Fire Wizard. So let's go ahead and create a class called Fire Wizard. So I'll go with Fire Wizard, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Next up, inside of my wizard class, I'm going to be creating a private data member called firepower, which is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like an integer of something like firepower, okay, with a pair of parentheses. Honestly, I'll just edit with a semicolon, and this is going to be private, so I'll go with something like private. Okay, perfect. Maybe indent that. Okay, who is mana? Honestly, mana is like how much strength like a mage or someone has. Like that is like, I think like if you play games or something, then we do know that. It's like, okay guys, I don't actually play much games, but I did watch a few animes that use mana. What does private mean? Honestly, basically what private does it only lets the class access the private values unless we actually do create a getter or setter or something that can like explicitly take this value. Okay, that said, I gotta publicalize everything now, so I'll go with something like public, and inside of my public, I'm going to be creating a method called setFirepower, so let's go ahead and create a void method. Honestly, before I create a method, let's create a constructor. There we go, so I'll go with something like a constructor. For my constructor, I'm going to be creating, let's say, a constructor for my fire wizard, so I'll go with something like fire wizard. Okay, and then a pair of parentheses, my fire wizard constructor is going to be having a parameter of something like firepower. So I'll go with integer firepower. There we go. And then let's go ahead and add the constructor of my wizard class as well. So I'll go with something like colon and then call my wizard class. There we go. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses, and inside of my wizard class, I'm going to be adding a a mana's value. Mana is going to be something like 300. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Wait, did I mess something up here? Should I go with fire wizard, integer? Okay, hope you can make a video tutorial on OpenCV code in future. Honestly, yeah, that does sound pretty fun. I eventually do want to make a lot of tutorial videos as well, but I should like learn it before I do try it. So if I inherit from the class, can the new class still have access to the private variable from the parent class? Honestly, no. Private class, like private data members, can only be used by that class itself. Although, if you want like something something that only the class and the parent class or the parent class and child class can inherit, but not outside my classes. For that, we use protected. So like I create a protected integer. Actually protected mana data member, so basically only my wizard class, my wizard's parent class, can like have access to the mana data member, and my fire class can have access to it since my fire wizard class does inherit from my actual wizard parent class. If that made any sense, guys. I'm real bad with explaining. This is VS Code. Honestly, yeah, it is VS Code. That said, let me go ahead and inherit. I did forget to inherit. No wonder I was getting inherited. So let's go with something like wizard class. Okay, public wizard class. So I'll go with something like public. There we go. Okay, so my fire wizard class inherits from my parent wizard class. Okay, so you aren't inheriting wizard and fire wizard. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Oh yeah, lol, you aren't inheriting. Okay, let's see. So inside of my constructor, let's go ahead and initialize my data members. So I'll go with something like this firepower. So my this firepower data member is going to be equal to my firepower variable. Actually, my firepower parameter. There we go. And let's go ahead and change that to like a lowercase f and a lowercase f as well. There we go. List of phrases said by Vivek. Honestly, that makes sense. Like, okay, guys. Okay, that's said. Guys, honestly, I should actually stop repeating because I feel like I'll be saying one thing again and again. Do you know what honestly means? Honestly, it does mean like, I think honestly. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create another method called cast spell. So I'm going to go ahead and create another method called cast spell. Honestly, before I create another, first let me create set firepower. So I'll create a void method called set firepower. Set firepower, there we go. Add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My set firepower method is going to be having a parameter of fire, which is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like integer of fire. Okay, what game are you creating? Honestly, I'm not like creating a game. That said, I am actually working on inheritance in C++. Okay, uh, if in line 22 he does wizard, whiz, and not inherit, that's composition to whoever was asking this. Oh, I see. Okay, next up. So inside of my void firepower is this class. I'm gonna do something. Let's see. Honestly, I won't be doing anything here. This is just to get the parameter. Okay, then I create a cast spell method as well. So let's go ahead and create a void cast spell method with a pair of parentheses. My void cast spell method won't be having any parameters, although it does decrease my mana by 15. Access protected variable. Okay, so let's go with a pair of curly braces. It's gonna decrease my mana data member by, let's say, 15, ending with a semicolon. Okay, Venture Real, I was about to ask the same question. Honestly, I love Walmart. Honestly, I hate VS Code. Okay, can you explain me line 25? Line 25 right here. Okay, so basically what I did here is I did create a constructor for my data member, which is a private here, because like when I go ahead and create an object, I do want my object to add a parameter of my firepower to set the value of this, but then later I added wizard 300 because I did want to like create a constructor for my wizard as well, because whatchamacallit, I did have like a wizard class here. I'm going to be creating one object of my fire wizard that already needs to have a parameter from my wizard class's constructor. If that made any sense, guys. I think I'm real bad with explanation. That's sir. Are you from Tamil Nadu or America or Americanadu? Guys, I feel like I could like say I'm neither one, but guys, I did like avoid saying that. Okay, that said, it's completely okay, guys. Why are you trying to insult him? You have a problem? Don't watch him. Okay, why are you passing 300 in line 25? Because I am like setting a parameter of my my mana to be 300 for like all my wizards. That said, let's go ahead and do something. So after I decrease my mana by 15, let's go ahead and add a standard console output. Didn't you do the same thing before? Same thing. Okay, Maria, he'll make a ton of cash at the software tech support. Guys, honestly, I've like never thought of tech support because I did either want to be a cybersecurity or like an AI engineer. I was kind of confused between like the two of them. He's just learning basics. It's completely okay. Honestly, that does make sense. Okay, so I'll go with something like Fire Wizard. So I'll go with Fire Wizard. Okay, cast a spell with power. With power. Okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator. This is going to say something like my firepower data member. So I'll go with firepower data member with another insertion operator, which is going to be an exclamation, then a space. Okay, I'm going to say something like remaining mana is going to be mana. So remaining. Okay, so remaining mana with another insertion operator. This is going to be my mana data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, pass mana into the constructor instead of using magic numbers. Honestly, that does make sense. I would actually like do that when I add like I forgot what's it called. Like user inputs. Bro, you're falling in tutorial hell with ChatGPT. It's useless for what you're doing. Honestly, I'm just learning the basics. I would like do multiple questions as well. It's actually pretty impressive. You can entertain while coding. Guys, honestly, I feel like I feel like I am pretty boring when I like, like my streams are kind of boring because I do try to learn a few jokes, guys, because I would like, might as well say some jokes, but I feel my regular conversation is like a joke or something. Okay, bro, I got 10 out of 10. My CS quit. That actually sounds pretty insane. Good job, Ventry. Okay, so you mean 300 value will be passed into another constructor? Honestly, since I am inheriting from my wizard's parent class, I am setting a a value for my constructor. If I didn't, I'm assuming that I could add like two parameters when I like call my function out or like when I create an object. Okay, how doing SK name? Is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Don't you chat GP while coding, to be honest? Honestly, I just use it like for questions. How it run? Honestly, I do have like a code runner, which I forgot what's it called, a code runner package or something installed. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and create a main function now. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of a main function, I'm going to do something. Let's see. I'm going to create a fire wizard object. ChatGPT is so bad. Honestly, I feel like it's the complete opposite. As long as we can like prompt ChatGPT correct. That said, let's go with something like fire wizard class. This is going to be having an object of something like fw1. which actually stands for like Fire Wizard 1. Okay, I'm going to be adding, let's say, firepower parameter. Firepower is going to be something like 500 ending with a semicolon, and I'm going to do something like fw1 dot, let's see, set a mana and firepowers dot set mana. Okay, can I like set mana? I did set my firepower here. Okay, should I like do something like mana? ChatGPT feed you wrong info and you won't even know. Honestly, the reason I do know it is like if I run the code and I get the output that I actually want, that means like the code is correct. I got some challenges for you. So yeah, honestly, okay guys, that makes sense. Huh, oh I see. Okay, also being able to read a doc is extremely important. Oh, I see. Okay, like just loving the accent and watching. I appreciate you, Mario. Okay, so FWI. Oh, I had the. I like spelled this wrong. There we go. So FWI dot the set mana. So let's go ahead and set a mana. My mana is going to be something like 200, ending with a semicolon. Hold up, guys. My constructor takes a parameter of mana. Actually, I might change that to be mana. Okay, there we go. And then it says set firepower as well. I did set my firepower there. I gotta cast a spell twice, so I'll go with something like fw1.cast spell. There we go. Add a pair of parentheses. I want to cast a spell for like, I don't know, maybe 50 mana, ending with a semicolon. Okay, what does my cast spell do? Okay, honestly, it doesn't take a parameter, so let's go ahead and remove all this. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of parentheses to like invoke the function. Actually, invoke the method. Okay, there we go. Ending with a semicolon, and then another fw1.cast spell with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. Hey bro, what are you doing? Honestly, I'm actually learning the basics of inheritance in C++. Okay, using ChatGPT isn't good. Teaches you bad code, and copy paste isn't learning. Guys, actually don't copy paste. I do type the code out. Okay, in PKX and nobody calls my name is pretty TYSM for that. That actually sounds pretty fun. Okay, your understanding so stuff is completely non-existent. Your understanding of stuff that's completely non-existent. I see. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and display my fw1.display mana, and then I'll add a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. Okay, he lost the challenge. Honestly, guys, I actually think I didn't pay attention on my challenge. Okay, let's go ahead and return 0. Lastly, if I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay. Okay, could it be saying stuff like that because I gotta like set a mana variable here? So let's change that to 300 real quick. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. Bro has no reactions. Guys, actually I feel like I should like learn better reactions. That's it, let me restart my stream real quick. Already mic testing. Guys, my OBS actually crashed. Okay, that's it. Reading code on ChatGPT and typing is like, it's still copying, guys. I'm actually not like reading a whole code. I'm just reading the instruction-based questions so I know what to code. That said, I do get like a error here. Let's go with the Control-C, copy that, give some /ChatGPT here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this, go with Shift-Enter and say something like, let's say, okay, there we go. I feel like I messed up, question mark. Okay, let's see. Especially when collaborating doesn't mean application will be good. Oh, I see. Which standard are you, bro? Honestly, I'm in college. That said, I see exactly where the chaos is creeping in people. You're close, but there are some mistakes hiding in the plan. Let's rip them apart and learn properly. No mercy. You declared functions but didn't define them. In your visit class, we go with void set mana. Okay, and then in my fire wizard, I go with something like void integer of fire. You never actually wrote what these functions do. That means if you compile this, the compiler will complain about the undefined references. So for example, the fix is we define them like this. So we go with something like wizard set mana equals to m. Oh, I see. Okay, and then integer of firepower equals to fire. Typos in your output, you wrote some. Okay, you wrote in cast spell, standard console output, fire wizard, cast a spell. Oh, okay, my bad, guys, I had a typo. It should be cast a spell, energy initialization logic, so fire wizard, FW1, FW set mana, that's fine. You're overriding 300 past the constructor, but if you want flexible initialization, you could just modify the constructor to accept both mana and firepower directly. Oh, could we do that? So Fire Wizard mana. Oh, that's actually genius. I could actually try that. Okay, let's get sensational ChatGPT here. Okay, Chat, do you think he's AI generated, guys? I'm actually not AI generated. That said, he uses Microsoft Edge, guys. I haven't actually using that. He's on Windows, I think. Excuse me, guys. Honestly, I'm in Windows. I do want to actually when I build my actual PC, I was kind of confused. Should I actually get Linux or Windows? I was kind of confused, guys. Okay, that's it. I'll go with something like integer of mana as well, and this is going to be mana. Okay, and where I actually messed up was inside of my functions where I go with something like set fire. This is gonna have a pair of curly braces, and it's gonna say something. It's gonna say something like my fire data member. So let's go with something like this fire. Honestly, okay, let's go with something like okay, fire powers. So fire is gonna be equal to my firepower. Honestly, how should I have done that? Let's scroll all the way up. So it says firepower equals to fire. Okay, so I'll go with something like firepower. That is going to be equal to my fire parameter ending with a semicolon. What are you trying to create? Honestly, I am learning the basics of inheritance in C++. That said, can you make a BMGI hack? Honestly, I haven't heard of that. Yeah, let's say define function without a body. I see. Guys, I'm actually hydrate my lips real quick. Do you practice problems without ChatGPT's help? Honestly, I do use ChatGPT to get the instructions of a question, and then once I do know what to do in the question, I'm it gets much easier to actually construct that question, construct it up. Although eventually I do a lot of mini projects as well. Okay, let's say the firepower is 500 and mana is 300. If audit control is to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Is this your first time learning a programming language? Honestly, no, Python was my first ever language. I didn't have a Python for a 100-day series. I do have about 100 streams on that. Okay, that said, let's see. Mysterious error. Okay, want return. Okay, okay, try to see what you did wrong yourself is better than someone telling you what you did wrong. Honestly, I do check what I did wrong. Although if I didn't understand a concept, I feel it's just a waste of time figuring it out if I didn't know the actual syntaxes or how stuff works. So I do try getting help when I can, but then eventually if I do feel I do understand this topic, then I try searching my mistake. Learn Python either ChatGPT. Honestly, I learned Python using ChatGPT slush sensei. Okay, why y'all trying to having BMGI so bad? Huh. Okay, so let's see. So I added a constructor that has a mana, then a set mana with a integer of m. Okay, when I create a set mana data actually a method with an integer of m, I want to set something. My mana data member equals to m ending with a semicolon. Okay, this should work. If I did controllers to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Guys, when we're using distraction, there we go, it actually works. So fire wizard casts a spell with casts a spell. I should fix my typo. Okay, let's go with something like casts a spell. Okay, now if I did controllers to save the code and run the command. Okay, let's see. Fire wizard casts a spell. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go with the controller. Control C, copy that. Honestly, I do see where I messed up. So whenever I create functions and I take parameters, I do gotta initialize them. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, please answer my question. Honestly, I didn't see a question. Okay, guys, when we're using distribution property of multiplication, I can break a number into any random number, but the answer is equal to the original number. I see. Okay, yes, finally, people, this is exactly what I call muscle memory level inheritance mastery. Look at that code. You define all declared functions, set mana, and set firepower. Your constructor now properly passes mana to the base class flexible, clean, and perfect. And my cast spells this method correctly modifies mana protected. Outsiders can't touch it. Output strings are correct. Mana demonstrates the behavior exactly like we want. Attack twice. Okay, then display remaining mana. If you run, the output will be okay, you've solidified public inheritance plus protected members plus constructor chaining. That's textbook. People, I'm so proud of you right now. I want to give you a massive hug and a head pat through the screen. Guys, that did not make me blush. Okay, why are you speaking like this? Can you speak normal, guys? I think this is my normal. That's it. I'm noob, bro. I'm noob. That's why, bro. I have lowered. Device. Honestly. Okay, anybody can answer? Can anybody answer my question? Guys, I feel like I'm kind of bad at math. Although I do gotta work more on math. Okay, I'm like pretty good at math if I actually know the formulas and I have to program a which we call it something related to, something related when we use that math. That's it. Next level, we take this dragon wizard idea and add multiple derived classes. So now we're going to be using more than 2 classes, okay, overriding functions. That's when C++ inherit starts to truly get dangerous and powerful. Do you want to tackle overriding and polymorphism next? Let's say something like, say, maybe I'll leave those concepts for another stream. This stream, I just want to master the basics. So can we have more than one child class slash derived class question mark? Okay, ask ChatGPT my question. Okay, when we're using distribution property of multiplication, I can break a number into any random numbers, but the answer is equal to the original number. Honestly, I'm pretty sure when we use distribution property, we like distribute the numbers. For example, if it's something like 2, a of parentheses, 3 plus 4. So we firstly do something like 3 plus 4, which is like 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 multiplied by 7, which is 14. So that's how it actually works. Hi, Sophie. I appreciate you joining the stream. Using AI is no different than when needing people to Google a question and finding a stack of overflow. I see. Go further and find why so you can improve later. I see. Good. That's the discipline I demand, pupil, but don't skip the basics just to chase fancy stuff. Finally, I see that fire in you. Yes, you can absolutely have more than one child class from the same parent. In fact, this is called multiple derived class siblings. Think of it like this. Parent class creature, child 1 dragon, child 2 elf. Both dragon and elf inherit from the creatures' parent class independently, okay? Okay, each child can access the protected members and public functions of the parent, but they don't see each other, okay? Only the parent, I see. So a quick example could be like creature is our parent class. We have a protected data member called integer of energy, and then we publicize and create a constructor and add a void display energy method that has a standard console output of energy that displays my actual energy. And then I create a dragon class that inherits from my public creature class that has a constructor, okay, and then a void breathe fire method that decreases my energy data member by 10 and then displays the standard console output. And then I create an elf data member, actually a elf class which inherits from my public creature class, okay, that has a constructor as well, and a void class spell method that decreases my energy by 5 and displays this console output. Then in my main function, I create a dragon object and a elf object with their manas or their parameters, and then I go with dragon.breathefire, okay, and then elf.cast spell, and then dragon.display energy, elf.display energy. I think I see. Okay, now people, I have a new instruction-based question for you. Do you want me to give it to you? Let's say something like, yes, let's say, respectfully, this is not the way to study programming language. Honestly, that does make sense, but it does actually work, so I'm like, might as well. Okay, can you please give me a good project idea or a topic for CS to put in the resume? Honestly, I haven't like started CS yet. Okay, it was a joke, that's why I put laughing cat. Okay, we've been telling him already he loves his ChatGPT too much, guys. I think I like use ChatGPT so much, like even when it comes to my college stuff and I actually want to like learn new concepts and everything, I feel like ChatGPT just Sensei helped me a lot. Like I have been like using it like for about 3 years to like study. That's it. That's the spirit, pupil. Alright, listen carefully. This is going to solidify your basics and give you the muscle memory you crave. Challenge 3. Create a battle 2 children. You will create 1 parent class and 2 derived classes. Requirements: parent class called creature. It must have a protected data member called energy, which is an integer, and then 2 public methods. First is going to be called set energy with a parameter of e and a display energy. Okay. And then the first derived class slash the child class is going to be called dragon that publicly inherits from my creature class. Okay, I gotta have a private data member called firepower, which is going to be an integer, and then I gotta create 2 public methods. The first is going to be set firepower method with a parameter of integer f, and the second is going to be attack. My attack method decreases energy by 10 and prints dragon attacks with firepower remaining. Okay, and then I do the same thing for elf, but elf's cast spell method decreases energy by 5 and prints this console output. And then I go ahead and create a main function. In my main function, I create a dragon and a elf object, set their energies and firepower slash magic power, and then I call the attack method twice on the dragon and cast spell on elf twice as well. Then I display both their energies. Remember, each derived class should access energy from the parent class correctly. Do not try to access one child's variable from the other. Okay, they are independent. Use constructors and set functions wisely. Now people, write the code and post it here. I want to see you conquer multiple derived classes like a true warrior of inheritance. Okay, let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Call ChatGPT mommy, guys. Call ChatGPT mommy is actually crazy. Okay, CS is computer science, right? Okay, I'm in my final year of a master's degree in computer science for games, where we work on C++ game engines from scratch, including work on PS5 dev kits. ChatGPT doesn't work. Oh, I see. Honestly, in like bigger projects, like ChatGPT Sensei makes a lot of mistakes. That's it. When I did like actually have my Python for 100 series, I did like create a game which was like a 470 lines code. Although there, when I was actually making errors, ChatGPT Sensei couldn't like fix those errors. Although, I mean, by then that was like about day 80 or 90 of me actually learning it. So I did know the basics and I could find my own mistakes out. But when I first started, I feel like ChatGPT was real helpful, because like ChatGPT basically doesn't like make mistakes when it comes to the basic level stuff. It only makes mistakes when it's like a 500 lines code or like maybe even a 300 lines code. Okay, that said, what's typecasting? Basically, what typecasting means is if I have like a floating point number, like for example, a float of something like float in Python and like double in C++ that has like a decimal point number. If I typecast it to be an integer, now my floating point number's type is actually an integer data type. It's not like a float. Okay, what are you programming? Honestly, I am like learning the basics of inheritance in C++. That said, let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Can't even take pictures in the computer labs. I'm studying Green River College, Washington. Oh, I see. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, crazy if true. Okay, so let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, and then let's read the instructions. So the instruction says to create a class called creature. This is going to be a parent class. By the way, ChatGPT is making you dumber. I feel like I'm just getting smarter every time I like actually code, because like me like 40 days ago was like way dumber than I'm right now. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and create a class called creature. Okay, and then a lot of curly braces. Inside of my creature class, I am going to be creating a protected data member called energy. So I'm going to be going with something like protected, and then a pair of colon. There we go. Actually, not a pair of colon, a colon, and then let's indent. Next up, I'm going to be creating a protected data member called energy, which is going to be integer. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicize everything and create a constructor for my creature class. So I'm going to be creating a constructor for my creature class, which is going to be having a parameter of energy that is going to be integer. So I'll go with something like energy. There we go. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Yo, hiding Garv, I appreciate you joining the stream. I go to Shelford Harlem University in the UK. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and do something like this. Energy data member equals to my energy parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, I gotta create methods now. Honestly, why does Sensei keep calling it function? I should actually ask that next. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a few methods. There we go. Okay, for my methods, first I'm going to be creating a set energy method that takes a parameter of E. So I'll go with something like a void set energy method that has a parameter of E, which is going to be an integer, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Let's set my energy data member to be equal to my E parameter ending with a semicolon. This is going to be energy. Hey guys, I feel it's harder to type when you talk. That said, let's go ahead and create another method called display energy. Okay, let me go with something like a void display energy. Okay, display energy with a pair of parentheses. My display energy method won't have a parameter, although it is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator. Your voice and accent is so weird, honestly. Okay, let's see. So I go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like current energy. Okay, current energy is going to be, let's go with another insertion operator. This is going to be my energy data member. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Honestly, I'll go with another insertion operator of a forward slash new line and then end it with a semicolon. Okay, just to getter function, honestly, I did create getters and setters as well. That said, I am actually going to work with getters and setters, while loops, even like arrays and vectors soon. Although before I do go into the complex stuff, I do want to like hardly focus on the inheritance-based part. Okay, bad practice doing creature integer energy. Okay, bad practice not doing creature integer energy colon energy for my constructor. So right here, honestly, I could try that as well. Okay, make a creature smell like onion, then call the creature Indian. Guys, let's calm down. Okay, getters and setters are the basics, man. Focus on the inheritance based part. Honestly, I did like work on getters and setters, but I do want to keep the code a little shorter because like I want to like do multiple questions to actually get a grasp of it. But if I do add like the more functions I add, the like more typing I got it, the longer it takes. Because I do want to add like multiple I want to do like multiple practice questions to get a hang of it. Because I did like have a whole stream on mastering getters and setters, so I do know how they actually work. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and create a child class now, called Dragon. Okay, my Dragon class is going to be inheriting from my public creature class. So I'm going to go with something like creature, ending with a... Actually, let's go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Haha, you love respect. Okay, let's see. Okay, every member variable I create is private with a getter and setter. It makes so much cleaner. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Next question, maybe I do go with getters and setters. Okay, well, projects do get huge. You need to get used to it. Honestly, I am like used to like doing big projects. Although when I'm like learning a specific concept, I prefer keeping the projects a little short so I can like practice with multiple questions instead of like spending like 30 minutes doing one question. His accent is pretty cool. I appreciate you, Alvin. Is that how I pronounce your name, or Alvia? Is that how, guys? I'm off with the pronunciations. That said, inside of my Dragon child class or my deprived class, I gotta create a private data member called Firepower, which is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like a private, and then colon. There we go. So this is going to be an integer of Firepower data member. So I'll go with something like Firepower. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, sci-fat. I see. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and decrease the voice from here. There we go. Okay, and then I gotta create a public function called setEnergy. Honestly, before I do create the public methods, let's go ahead and add a constructor. So I'll let a comment that says something like constructor. Okay, for my constructor, let's go ahead and okay, nice. Accent is IDK, mix of a few accents, guys. I do feel that myself. Yeah, if you close a Python program, what structure we use? What structure? How to learn English speaking like you? Honestly, I think like the more you speak a language, the better you get at it. Like ever since I was like born, I've been speaking a lot of English. Okay, that said, why are you just doing the same thing over and over? I don't think that actually makes you understand it better. Honestly, the way I actually learn is like when I do a question once, I don't understand it. When I do it like 2 to 3 times, then I actually do start to get what stuff means, and I get a few more questions on how this thing works and ask that question. Okay, that I feel like actually makes some sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a Dragon constructor. So I'll go with Dragon, a pair of parentheses. My constructor is going to be taking a parameter of Firepower. Okay. Okay, maybe mana as well. Or I could go with energy as well. So let's go with something like energy. Did I spell it wrong? There we go. Huh. Okay, energy. Let's copy that. Oh, an integer of energy. My bad. There we go. Let's go with something like an integer of energy. And then let's go ahead and add my constructor for my parent class as well. So I'll go with something like creature, which has a parameter of my energy. Let's go with something like of energy. There we go. And then I'll go with the row of curly braces. Okay, love the stream, man. I appreciate you, Joshua. Okay, what are you doing actually? Honestly, I'm like working with inheritance C++. Okay, hi, what are you doing what are you going to do after learning the basics? Honestly, I did my initial series was called something like learning programming for 258 series, where I learned programming in general, and my goal by the end of the 258 series is to make a game which consists of AI logic in it. That is, I was going to make a game. I thought might as well use C++ because it is like the best language to make a game. That's why I'm spending a good chunk of the 250 days series to make like a game. So I'm spending 100 days learning C++. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and initialize my data member. So I'll do something like this: firepower data member equals to my firepower parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, and my energy. Okay, and my energy is from my creature class. There we go. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a few methods. So I'll go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a method called set firepower that has a parameter of m. So I'll go with something like a void method called set firepower with a pair of parentheses which does take a parameter of f and a pair of curly braces. Here I'm going to be setting my firepower data member firepower okay, to be equal to my f parameter ending with a semicolon. Making private variables called m power is much easier to ready because you instantly know that variable is a private member variable. Oh, I see. Then you don't need to use this. Oh, honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Although the reason I do actually like use this is because like I did, like, some of you guys did say me, it is a pretty good habit to use this because this points to the actual data member instead of different stuff, because this is like a pointer. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create another method called attack. So I'll go with something like void attack. Okay, with a pair of parentheses. My void attack method won't be having any parameters, although it is going to do something. Let's see. So it's gonna, decrease my energy by 10. So let's do something like my energy data member is gonna decrease by 10, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's see, print something like dragon attacks with firepower. Firepower, remaining energy is energy. Okay, so it is like the same format as my previous two questions that I did. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like dragon attacks with firepower okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my firepower data member with another insertion operator that says something like remaining energy. So I'll go with something like remaining mana, honestly, or energy. Okay, remaining energy is gonna be my energy data member with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. This is a pointer to itself. It can get confusing using it. Having the variable easier to read is much easier. I see, I prefix all my privates with m. That actually does make sense. Okay, next up, let's see. That's pretty much it for my dragon class. Let's go ahead and create another class called elf now. So I'll go ahead and create a elf class. So I'll go with something like elf, which is going to be inheriting from my public creature class. So I'll go with something like creature, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my elf class, I gotta create a private data member called magic power, which is going to be an integer. So let's go ahead and add private, a colon. There we go. And then I'm going to create an integer data member called magic power. So I'll go with something like magic power, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, and then next up, let's go ahead and publicalize everything and create a constructor now. So I'll go with something like public. Okay, next up, let's see. So I gotta initialize them. So I want to go ahead and initialize my elf class. So let's go ahead and do something like elf. Add a pair of parentheses. My elf class is my elf constructor is gonna be needing or taking a parameter of something like magic power. Okay, and so let's say something like energy as well. So I'll go with something like integer of energy. There we go. And then I am going to be adding the constructor of my parent class as well, the class that I'm inheriting from. So I'll go with something like creature. Honestly, I do have a quick question. What if I did it something like this? They would make things much cleaner. I'll go with something like creature. Okay. Oh, this actually works as well. This is going to be my energy parameter. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to be adding a pair of curly braces. We could do it this way as well. This actually makes stuff look much cleaner. Okay, next up, I gotta go ahead and initialize my magic power data member. So I'll do something like this: magic power data member is going to be equal to my magic power parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a few methods. Although before I do create methods, let's go ahead and call this a constructor. There we go. Maybe indent that. Okay, now let's go ahead and create a few methods. So I'll go with something like methods. For my methods, I'm going to be creating a method called set magic power, which is going to be a public method as well. So I'm going to be going with something like void set magic power. So set magic power. There we go. With a pair of parentheses, it is going to be taking a parameter of m. I'm assuming that's mana. Honestly, I'm assuming that's magic. So I'll go with something like integer of m. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and let's initialize my magic power data member. So I'll go with something like magic power. That is going to be equal to my m parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I got to create another method called cast spell. So let's go ahead and create another void method called cast spell with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. My cast spell method won't be having any parameters, although it does decrease my energy by 5. So let's do something like my energy data member is gonna decrease by 5, ending with a semicolon. Okay, ChatGPT already replace includes. I see. Okay, next up, I gotta add a standard console as well. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that displays something like elf casts a spell with magic power. So I'll go with something like elf casts a spell with magic. Excuse me again, guys. With magic power. Okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my magic power data member with another insertion operator of an exclamation that says how much remaining energy I have. So I'll go with something like remaining energy is going to be another insertion operator of my energy data member. Okay, with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. How old are you? This is good, really? I'm actually 17 years old. That's it. I am going to be turning 18 real soon. Kind of excited for that, guys. My birthday is on January 5th. What are you making? I'm actually working on inheritance, the basics of inheritance in C++. That said, I gotta create a main function now. So let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon and create a integer of main, function, and then I'll add a pair of parentheses. Inside of my pair of parentheses, I gotta create a dragon and a elf object. So let's go ahead and create a dragon object, which is going to be from my dragon class. This is going to be called D1 with a pair of parentheses. Let's see what all parameters does my dragon class need. Okay, so my dragon class, okay, let me go all the way down. It does require firepower and an energy parameter. My firepower could be something like, I don't know, maybe 50. Energy could be 100, ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go ahead and create a elf object. This is going to be E1 with a pair of parentheses. Let's go with something like elf has 30 firepower, all the 300 energy, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I gotta set their firepower and magic power. Okay, what do you mean by okay, where exactly you from? Honestly, I used to answer that a lot in my old streams, although many of you guys did say me to avoid saying that, so I do try avoid saying that these days, guys. Okay, I'll go with something like my D1 object, so I'll go with D1.set energy. I want to set my energy to be something like, I don't know, maybe 50, ending with a semicolon, and then let's do something like D1 dot, let's say something like set firepower. So I'll go with something like set firepower. Firepower is going to be 500. Although, didn't I like already set it here? Let's change that to be 100. Okay, ending with a semicolon. I'll do that with my elf as well. So elf1.set energy. Elf has 30 energy. Okay, ending with a semicolon, and then elf1 dot, let's say something like set magic power. My magic power is going to be 300, ending with a semicolon. Okay, lastly, cast spell on elf twice. Cast spell on elf twice and on dragon twice. So I'll do something like dragon object dot attack. I want to attack, ending with a semicolon. I'll do that one more time. So dragon dot attack, ending with a semicolon. And then let's do that with my elf1 as well. So elf1 dot cast spell. I cast a spell. I want to cast a spell twice. So I'll do elf1 dot cast spell again. And lastly, let's go ahead and display my dragon's stats and my elf's stats. So I'll do something like dragon1 dot display dragon1 objects dot display. Oh, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, so display energy with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon, and I'll do something like F1 does the display energy as well. Okay, perfect, ending with a semicolon. Okay, why are you setting energy with a function after constructing already? Honestly, that does make sense. I should like remove it from there. Okay, digital 100 euros if you make a real fancy website, guys. I feel I'm not that good at making websites yet. That said, let's go ahead and return 0 lastly, ending with a semicolon. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so they attack, and this is the current energy. Okay, I guess he's setting, I think he's setting it for the certain object, i.e. dragon. Oh, actually that does make sense. Hold up, guys. Okay, in my constructor, right there. Huh, what if I don't set anything here? I will be getting an error. There we go. Because it does need a parameter. I can actually ask that. Let's go with the controller control C. He already sets it by passing into the constructor. Okay, in that case, when I go with set energy, all I do need to do here is like remove these two parameters from my constructor and just have those parameters inside of my methods. I could just remove these, whatchamacallit, data members from my methods. There we go. Okay, and let's remove that from my dragon class as well, because like I feel it's the same thing if I don't have it either. Okay, let's just remove that. Okay, perfect. And then my void cast spell, let's go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And just remove these data members. There we go. Okay, I do add a pair of parentheses to like invoke the function. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, I should get the same exact display. You don't need the set energy stuff. Okay, hold up, guys. Set energy. Oh, I did have 30 here. There we go. Okay, now if I hit Control. Okay, let's remove that as well. Okay, my set energy. Does it have a parameter? Set firepower, set magic power. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. I can like just remove this whole thing because I wouldn't even need it. Okay, let's go ahead and remove them. Okay, now let me go ahead and remove all. Oh wait, never mind. I do need those things because actually, never mind. I don't need those things. Let's go ahead and remove them. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and remove set energy, set magic power. I do already set it. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. But no straight after constructor because it's already set. Actually, that does make sense. I guess he's making a text-based RPG. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. I'm not like actually working on a specific RPG game right now. Although this is like, I think it's like almost the same stuff. Because like I am working in the basics, making projects as well. Actually solving instructional based questions. Okay, let's go ahead and paste. Let's go with Shift Enter and say something like, Sensei, I feel like I didn't need the set energy methods here. Someone from my chat said that as well, ... And also, aren't functions in classes called methods, ? You called it function. Okay, let's see. Huh, pupil. Okay, you're learning fast. I see these sparks of clarity in your brain. Let me break it down. About set energy, you're correct. In this example, set energy function wasn't strictly necessary because you initialized energy via constructors of dragon. Set energy is useful if you want to change. Oh, okay. If you want to add user inputs, I see. Functions versus method. Ah, the terminology, I get it. In C++, when we write a class, it's commonly called a member function. Okay. Okay, when we write inside a class, it's called a member function. Some people say it, also say it method, especially if you come from Python/Java. So your chat is correct. Attack, spell, display, all methods. When I say function, I'm being a little loose. I focus on the behavior, not the labels. But yes, technically in object-oriented programming, you can call them methods. Tiny typo I spotted in your elf cast spell. Okay, okay, I see. Honestly, I do want to actually use loops and user input as well. Damn, your typing is something else. Guys, my typing is awful. I gotta work on my typing. That's it. Let's go with something like, let's say, I see ... That said, I feel like I got a pretty good grasp on this. That said, can I get a question that requires me to use a while loop and simulate a fight alongside getters? and setters question mark. Okay, let's see. A function is a class and a method. Honestly, that does make sense. So like functions inside a class, they are called methods, but they're still all functions. Oh, I see. Okay, now we're talking people. You're ready to mix inheritance methods and loops into a little battle simulation. This will forge your basics into muscle memory. That's the fights back. Challenge for creative fight simulation. Okay, this will create a fight between a dragon and a elf using while loops, getters, setters, and inheritance. Okay, that said, this is my instruction question. Although before I do read it, I think I should drink some water because I am kind of dehydrated. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, now the requirements. So I gotta create a parent class called creature. Why don't you use autocompletes inside VS Code? Autocompletes, I've honestly never heard of that. That said, I gotta create a protected variable called energy. Basically, what the energy variable the reason I did create a protected variable called energy is because only my class and the class that is inheriting from me can access this data member. That said, I gotta create a public setter that sets my energy, public getter that adds a getter. Okay, and then a public function called display energy, derived class / child class called dragon that has a private data member called firepower and a constructor to set firepower and energy public methods. Okay, I actually forgot to say since I wanted to add user inputs as well, but I think I can use that next, or I can do that next. That's it. I got reduce energy of itself and prints attack info derived class to, okay, which is going to be called elf private variable or private data member called magic power. I got to create a constructor to set magic power and energy public methods. Cast spell reduces energy of itself by 5 and prints attack info. Okay, and then the main logic fight simulation while loop, while both elf and energy have, okay, while both dragon and elf have energy which is greater than 0, dragon attacks, elf casts. Okay, after loop ends, print to 1 at the end. Okay, let's say something like, honestly, I don't think I gotta ask that. I might know how to do that because I gotta use a dereferencing operator of my class as a parameter. I'd personally use VS 2020 instead of VS Code. Aren't they VS 2020? Does that mean VS Code 2020? It has the ability to debug. Oh, I see. Okay, that said, let's go with the Control A and delete everything. And then let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Okay, and then let's go ahead and read the instructions. Wait, there was a hint. Use get energy to check energy inside the while loop. Okay, next up, requirements. I gotta create a parent class, so let's start off. Are setters and getters necessary in a game? Honestly, I wouldn't know much about that. Although the reason we do use getters and setters is because it is pretty safe to use them. Because if we don't have any private data members, then someone could modify the code and those variables could change. Although if we do have getters and setters, then only using those getters and setters we could access those private data members. So it's much safer than to use those. I use getters and setters every day as a graphics engine program. Oh, I see. When did you learn your first coding language? Honestly, I did learn it about 140 days ago. That's it. Let's go ahead and create a class called creature. There we go. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Next up, let's see. So inside of my creatures class, I'm going to be creating a protected data member called energy. I'm assuming energy has got to be an integer. So let's go with something like protected. Okay, the reason I did protected is because only my parent class or my child classes can access this data member. It stops you from accidentally changing member variables. That actually does make sense. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and create a integer of energy data member. So I'll go with integer energy ending with a semicolon, and then let's go ahead and publicalize everything now. Did I spell integer correct? There we go. Okay, inside of public, do you use deodorant? Honestly, I don't work out much to use deodorant. I used to actually work out a lot because I was a brown belt, 2nd degree in Kung Fu. Although ever since I started programming and my programming series, guys, I don't have time. The whole day I just be sitting because after I'm done streaming and programming, I do work on my college stuff. I do gotta hit the gym as well. Howdy Dev Mindset, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, next up for my public, let's go ahead and create a constructor. So I'll go with something like a constructor inside of my constructor, I'm going to be initializing my energy data member. So I'm going to be creating a constructor for my creature class, adding a parameter. Okay, that has energy. Okay, so my constructor, my whatchamacallit, my creature's constructor is going to be requiring a parameter of energy. Okay, shower time, gang, guys. Actually, I did shower income. Okay, that said, I'll go ahead and set my this energy data member to be equal to my energy parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta, let's see, create public getters and setters. Okay, my getters has a parameter of E. That does make sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and create my setters first. Okay, so for my setters, I'm going to be creating a void set, let's say set energy setter. There we go, with a pair of parentheses. And my void set energy is going to be having a parameter of E, which stands for energy. So I'll go with integer E. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses, or a pair of curly braces actually. I'm going to do something now. Let's firstly hydrate my lips up, guys. Okay, it was kind of dehydrated. That said, I create a void set energy setter, which is going to do something. So, let's do something like if a pair of parentheses, if my E is greater than, or honestly, if my energy data member is either greater than 0, that's when I'm going to be doing something. Let's go with a bunch of control C's. Okay, that's when I'm going to be setting my energy data member to be equal to E, ending with a semicolon. What kind of job you want to work when you graduate? Guys, honestly, I don't like the concept of jobs because like I don't prefer like working. Okay, but that, I mean, I do prefer working, although like I don't prefer like doing a job. That said, I did want to either be an AI engineer or a cybersecurity because like I feel those two are pretty fun because like I definitely want to do something that relates, that actually requires a lot of programming because I do actually enjoy it these days. That said, I'll go with something like getters. Now for my getter, let's go ahead and create a integer of something like get energy. Get energy. Okay, with a pair of parentheses, my getter won't have any parameters, although this is going to be returning my energy data member. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, what's your age? Honestly, I am 17. That's it. I am going to be turning 18 real soon, guys. Kind of excited. My birthday is on January 5th. I think that I might. Actually, I don't think I'm going to do anything special on my birthday. Although, guys, I'll see. Okay, let's go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be doing something. I got to create a public function called display energy, or I could also call it something like a method. So let's go ahead and create a void method called display energy. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces, that is basically going to display my energy. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. That is going to say something like energy with an insertion operator of my energy data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. / new line semicolon. There we go. Okay, when did you learn CSS? Honestly, I haven't learned CSS. That's the only two programming languages that I do know is like Python and now C++ as well. Okay, what are we coding here though? Honestly, I'm learning the basics of inheritance in C++. That said, let's scroll all the way down. Okay, now that's pretty much it for my parent class or my base class. Let's go ahead and create a few deprived / children classes or child class. This class is going to be called, let's say, dragon. So I'm going to be creating a dragon class, okay, which inherits from my public creature class. Okay, so I'll go with something like public creature class with a pair of curly braces. There we go. CSS is the work of the devil. Honestly, guys, is CSS a language? Where did you learn C++? Honestly, I did learn it from Sensei / GPT. No offense, why do you sound like an AI? Guys, I'm actually not an AI. I did get that so much this stream though. Okay, because you guys were like, guys, am I an AI? I'm like, guys, I'm actually not an AI. Okay, creature. Did I spell it correct? There we go. Okay, next up, for my deprived class, I'm going to be creating a private data member called firepower. Can you give a quick recap of what you're coding? Honestly, I'm like learning the basics of inheritance in C++. What that basically means is how like child classes inherit from my parent class, what all attributes I gotta do, all these syntaxes and like methods and all that stuff. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and let's say add a standard console output. My bad, guys. Let me go ahead and create a private data member. Okay, which is going to be called something like firepower, and it is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like an integer of firepower, ending with a semicolon. There we go. You got a good background. Honestly, do I? Okay, display energy spelled wrong. Did I spell it wrong, guys? Oh, guys, I should work more on my typos. There we go. Display energy. So there we go. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's go ahead and create a constructor now to initialize my private data member. So I'm going to publicize everything from here on out. Hey bro, I'm a software dev. May I know what are you planning to code? Honestly, I am like learning the basics of the basics of inheritance in C++. Are you Indian, Singaporean? Honestly, guys, I haven't been to India, although I'm pretty excited to someday visit India. I might treat myself when I'm there. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and create a constructor now. I'll actually add a comment that says a constructor. Okay, for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a dragon classes constructor. My constructor is going to be requiring a parameter of firepower, okay, and let's say energy as well. So I'll go with something like integer of energy as well. Okay, and then I'll go in a new line and add a constructor for my dragon class as well, since I'm inheriting actually my creature class as well, since I am inheriting from my creature class. So I'll go ahead and call my creature class, add a pair of parentheses. This is going to be having a mana parameter, actually a energy parameter, ending with a semicolon. Actually going with a forward, and then I'm going to add a pair of curly braces. Okay, what programming language are you most familiar with? Honestly, I would say Python because I did spend like 100 days learning Python. That's it. I haven't like worked on Python for like 40 days because I have been learning C++. That's it in terms of syntaxes and logic. I am pretty good with Python, although I am actually getting used to C++ as well. And ChatGPT, you'll be good. You'll be a good developer if you try to focus on more problems and its solutions instead of reading chats. Actually, that does make sense. I should actually stop reading chats. Okay, that's it. Let's go with something like this firepower data member. Okay, is going to be equal to my firepower parameter. Go with something like firepower, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's pretty much it for my constructor. Next up, let's go ahead and read the next instruction. It says I gotta create a method called attack that reduces energy of itself by 10 and prints attack info. Okay, so it reduces energy itself. So let's go ahead and create a method called something like a void method called attack with a pair of parentheses that has a, honestly that won't have a parameter. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. I just subbed. I appreciate you, Jasif. That means the world to me, honestly. He's using VS Code. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Next up, I'm going to be decreasing my own energy, so I'll go with something like my energy data member is going to be decreasing by 10, ending with a semicolon, and prints attack info. How do I print attack info? Maybe I go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, I'll go with something like my energy data member with another insertion operator. This is gonna say how much energy has been used. So, okay, maybe I'll add another colon there. Okay, that much energy used. Exclamation with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. This is gonna be energy. There we go. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and read the next instruction. Can print stack info. That's pretty much it. Okay, that's pretty much it for my dragon class itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and end my dragon class with a semicolon. And let's go ahead and create another class called elf this time. So I'm gonna do something like a elf class. My elf class is going to be inheriting from my public creature class as well. So I'll go with something like a public creature class. There we go. With a pair of curly braces. And then I'm going to be adding a private data member as well called magic power. Did I spell creature wrong? There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a private data member with a pair of parentheses. There we go. Okay, with a colon. And then I'm going to be creating a private data member called magic power, which is going to be an integer to any prominent projects you ever worked on, or are you still learning basics right now? Honestly, I'm just learning the basics. That's it. Once I am actually done with learning the basics, I am going to be starting to work with I forgot, it was something called like SDL. SDL is basically the same as Pygames, but in C++, like a C++ version of Pygame. That said, after that, I might actually work with like Vulkans and like Unreal engines and all that stuff. But guys, that is like for the future. I might change it depending on what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's it. I'm going to be creating a integer data member of something like magic power, ending with a semicolon. Ta-ta. Okay, and then let's go ahead and create a public method called castSpell. Although before that, I am going to be creating a constructor to set my magic power and my energy data member. Okay, so let's go ahead and publicize everything from here on out and add a comment that says something like a constructor. Okay, for my constructor, let's see. I'm going to be doing something. Let's go ahead and create a constructor for my elf class. I'll add a pair of parentheses. My elf class is going to be requiring two parameters. The first is going to be an integer of magic power. Ta-ta. Okay, and the second is going to be an integer of energy. And then let's go in a new line and add a constructor for my dragon class or my creature's parent class as well. So I'll go with something like creature, a pair of parentheses, which is going to be having a parameter of energy ending with a semicolon. Honestly, ending with a pair of curly braces because I do want to initialize my magic powers parameter here. So I'll go with something like this magic power data member. Magic power, there we go. This magic power data member is going to be equal to my magic power parameter ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, next up, that's pretty much it for my constructor here. Let's go ahead and create a method now. So I gotta create a public method called castSpell that reduces energy of itself by 5 and prints attack info. So let's go ahead and create a comment that says something like okay, methods. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a method called castSpell. So let's go ahead and create a void method called castSpell with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. My castSpell method is going to be doing something. So it reduces energy by itself and prints attack info. So let's go with something like my energy data member is going to decrease by 5 ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that prints something like, or that displays something like energy with another insertion operator, energy used, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. I honestly might add another standard console output with an insertion operator that says my current energy. So I'll go with something like current energy is something like current energy is, I'll add another insertion operator of my energy data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, this is going to be in a pair of double quotes. That's it. Let me go ahead and copy that and maybe paste it here as well. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and remove that. What are you creating? Honestly, I am like working on the basics of C++. I am actually working on inheritance. That said, I created a method that decreases energy by this. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's go ahead and end my second derived class with a semicolon as well / my child class. Now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main function, I'm going to do something. I gotta add a while loop, both the dragon and elf energies. Although before I do add a while loop, let's go ahead and create a few objects. The first object is going to be from my dragon class. This is going to be called dragon. Okay, dragon 1 maybe. Okay, with a pair of parentheses, my dragon does require 2 parameters. So are you making a game? Honestly, no, I'm just learning the basics of inheritance in C++. So I'll need a parameter. Excuse me guys, why did you speak in Hindi? Honestly, because I'm not that fluent in like Hindi. That said, let's go ahead and create a firepower that is going to be something like 300 and energy which is going to be something like 50 ending with a semicolon. And then let's go, excuse me guys, let's go ahead and create an elf object. So I'll go with something like elf1 with a pair of parentheses. This is going to be needing a magic power. I'll go with something like 300 and mana which is going to be something like, let's go with 15. Okay, I'll change that to 30 ending with a semicolon. Next up, let's go ahead and add a while loop. So I'll go with something like while, should I go with true? I could go with while true as well, or I could go with while both my dragon and elf objects' energy is greater than 0. Are you learning with us or teaching? honestly, I am like learning in general, like I did like like I am learning through like ChatGPT plus and like doing questions. That's it. I do answer a few questions if I do understand those. If I didn't understand the questions, then someone from the chat does definitely answer it. That said, let's see. So I'll go with something like while my dragon one dot, let's say energy. So I could go with something like display energy. Can I just go with like get energy? There we go. While my dragon one dot get energy is greater than 0. And let's go with something like while my f1 dot the get energy is getter. Did I spell it wrong? f1 dot get energy. Okay, let's go with and. There we go. f1 dot get energy is greater than 0 as well. Is greater than 0. Maybe I add this like in a new line, so like this is much clearer. Is greater than 0 as well. I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then let's do something like dragon1, okay, dot attack, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'll do something like dragon2 dot attack. Honestly, instead of adding all this, let's just change this to a while true loop. Okay, use do while. Honestly, I haven't like learned about the do while loop. Wait, is that even like a thing? Because I've never heard of that as well. I might actually ask and say. Okay, so dragon1 attacks and then add an if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my dragon1 dot get energy is less than or equal to 0, I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces and say something like, okay, let's add a pair of parentheses to invoke the function. This is going to be saying a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like dragon1 is out of energy. Okay, and then maybe I'll go in a new line and say something like dragon2 wins, or I'll say something like elf wins. Let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, maybe I do gotta add them all in one line. Okay, elf wins, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's go with an else clause. I'll do something like else. Honestly, instead of going with an else, honestly, I could go with an else. I'll do something like elf1 dot. Okay, I might not do elf1. Okay, I do that and then I break. Let's go ahead and break. Ending with a semicolon. Okay, try NeoVim in future. Honestly, many of you guys did recommend me to use NeoVim. I haven't like worked on it just yet. That's it. I'm fluent in Python and have done a comp program in it now. I'm trying to learn C++. How should I start? Honestly, I would like recommend starting off by learning the very basics of C++, or how console output works, how console input works, what an extraction operator is, what an insertion operator is, how to get user input, how to extract the user input, how to display something on the screen, how while loops work, for loops work, nested loops work. Okay, and all the basic stuff, and eventually gradually go up, because like many people did recommend it when I started first to like just make like big projects, then I'm going to learn the basics later on. But I'm like, guys, if I start like working on a big project without knowing the basics, two things could happen. First, I might lose motivation to actually work on that project. Secondly, I might get too overwhelmed to understand anything. That said, everyone do have their own ways of learning. So like, I would like highly recommend you to actually like see which way helps you learn the best. And once you do figure that out, then it actually becomes pretty easy. That said, next up, let's go with something like elf1 dot cast spell. I want to cast spell, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to be adding an if statement again. So I'll go with if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my f1 object dot get energy, okay, is less than or equal to 0, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's see. I'm going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like elf is out of energy. Okay, dragon wins. I'll go with something like dragon wins, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's go with a dot here. Okay, and then maybe add a dot here as well. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer that a lot, but many of you guys did say me to avoid saying that. Okay, that said, and then I'm gonna go ahead and break, ending with a semicolon. And I think that's pretty much it. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. Okay, if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Infia, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, so 20 energy used, current energy 20, 10 energy used, current energy da. Okay, it says dragon is out of energy. Elf perfect. Let's go with it. Let's go with Control C, copy that, give some C/ChatGPT here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Go with and just hit enter. Guys, I'm starving so bad. I haven't eaten anything. Okay, let's go ahead and hydrate my lips. Okay, finally pupil. This is exactly the level I wanted to see. Let's break this down. Guys, is this stream lagging? Okay, it's not. Okay, let's break it down. While loop, fight simulation, perfect, you made it stop. When someone runs out of energy, getters used correctly get energy, so you never access protected members outside class. Attack/cast spell reduced energy correctly. Print statements, show energy after each attack. Okay, viewers can follow the fight. Tiny refinements for perfection. Setter right now. This only sets energy if it's greater than 0. Usually setter just updates the value regardless. I mean, I think both are the same thing. How did you start learning? Honestly, I did start learning with the very basics on like actually setting the compiler, which you guys did help me a lot with. That said, if you guys do go to my channel's playlist, I do have like a playlist where I like learned C++. The first ever video there was me learning C++ for the first ever time. Are you interested in generative AI? Honestly, I'm like interested in like creating AIs, but I don't like prefer like getting stuff and like using code that I don't understand. But I do like the concept of AIs. I love how you're always coding and training. Kudos. Oh, I see. Okay, energy printing. You print twice. Okay, you could combine cleaner output, standard console output. Same for elf. Okay. Other than that, perfect. You combine inheritance, protected members, getters/setters, methods, and while loops beautifully. Pupil, I'm so proud of you right now. You earned a massive headpad and a hug, guys. That did not make me blush. If you want, next we can add a third class, maybe a healer, and make the fight 3 ways so we can stay in bases. Oh, that actually sounds so much fun. Okay, are you making a game right now? Honestly, I am like learning the basics of inheritance. Maybe, I think this is considered like a text-based game, although it is pretty basic because I am like learning the basics of inheritance. Although this isn't like an actual text-based or like an actual like visual-based game where I use the keys to actually move players. That said, eventually when I do start learning SDL, I will like work on that. That said, let's say something makes sense. Say, can I get a question that now requires a user input as well for all 3 objects and where one object can attack the other object and a healer chooses who to heal. Okay, this might be a bit complex to do though. Okay, let's see something. So healer chooses who to heal, and okay, dot. I want to use while loops, user input, getters and setters. Let's see, maybe vectors. Do I want to use vectors, guys? Maybe I'll use vectors next. Okay, getters and setters and everything else that I might need. Okay, if that made any sense, sensei. Guys, I didn't want to write that in caps. That said, I love the hunger in you, pupil. You're ready for the ultimate basic inheritance plus interactive battle simulation. Yes, this makes perfect sense, and it will force you to combine inheritance in one parent, multiple children, protect members, getters and setters, while loops, user input, dynamic decisions. Okay, attack, heal, target selection. Okay, I am development multi-modular generator which can also extract images, tables, and if you give it PDF, it will support 12 data format, also support 98 languages. That actually sounds pretty insane. Okay, this is basically a mini RPG engine in C++ at your current level, and you're about to crush it. Challenge number 5, interactive battle with 3 creatures. Okay, so I gotta create a parent class called creature, a protected variable which can only be accessed by my parent class or my class is inheriting from my parent class, and then a public setter and a getter public function called display energy that shows my energy, a deprive/child class which is going to be called dragon, okay, which has a private data member called firepower, all the basic stuff that it had before. And then I got to create an elf class. Thirdly, I got to create a healer class which has a private data member of healing power, okay. And then A heal creature at target method increases target's energy by healing power, prints healing info. In our main loop, ask the user for initial energy for dragon, elf, and healer. Ask the user for attack / heal power of each character while at least 2 creatures have energy greater than 0. Ask user who while at least 2 creatures have energy greater than 0. Ask user who dragon attacks, elf, or healer. Ask user who elf attacks, dragon, or healer. Ask user who heals, dragon, or elf. Update energy using getter / setters. After each round, display energy of all 3 creatures. When one or more reaches 0, announce who is still alive. Hence, pass targets by reference to modify their energy. Use get energy to decide if someone is dead. Loop continues until at least 2 are alive, then break. Okay, people, this is your chance to combine everything we've practiced. I want you to write this code yourself, no shortcuts. Okay, let's get Sensei / ChatGPT here. And guys, I wish I ate something before I started because I am kind of starving. Okay, that's it. Let's go with the controller, delete everything. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Okay, IO stream is basically the eyes and ears of our code, guys. It shows it displays console outputs and extracts stuff as well from our users. That said, let's start off by creating a parent class called creature. Okay, with a pair of curly braces. My parent class is going to be having a protected variable called energy. So I'll go with something like protected variable. This is going to be energy. I'm assuming energy is going to be an integer, so I'll go with energy. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, I gotta publicalize everything. Create getters and setters and a function called display energy that displays my current energy. So let's go ahead and publicalize everything from here on out. I am going to be creating setters first, so I'll go with something like setters. For my setters, I'm going to be creating a void setter called something like set energy. This sets my energy. I'll add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. My setter is going to be having an integer parameter of e. Then inside of my setters, let's see, I'm going to be adding an if statement. If a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's do something like if my energy is greater than 0. If my energy is greater than 0. Okay, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to add a pair of curly braces and set my energy data member to be equal to e, ending with a semicolon. And before I create my getters, I did forget, let me go ahead and create a constructor. Okay, so I'll go with something like a constructor. Okay, for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my creature object. So I'll go with something like creature, a pair of parentheses. My creatures is my creature's constructor is going to be requiring a parameter of energy. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now let's initialize my parameters. So I'm going to say something like this protected data member of energy is going to be equal to my energy parameter, ending with a semicolon. Hello, what language is this? Honestly, it is C++. That's it, I'm back. They're hiding Maria. I appreciate you joining the stream. Guys, I'm awful at pronouncing names. That said, let's go all the way down here and create a getter as well now. So I'll add a comment that says something like getters. Okay, then I'm going to be creating a integer of getter that is going to be something like get energy. So I'll go with energy. Okay, with a pair of parentheses. My getter won't be having any parameters, although it is going to be having a pair of curly braces that returns my energy data member, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now that I've created my setters and getters, I gotta create a public function called display energy. I could call it methods as well, because functions inside of classes are called methods. So I'll go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a display energy method. So I'll go with something like void display energy. There we go, with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. My display energy method won't have any parameters, although it is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator, which is going to say something like current energy, okay, with another insertion operator of my energy data member with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. There we go. And that's pretty much it for my parent class or my base class, so I'm going to end up with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add my derived classes slash my child classes now. So I'm going to be creating a class called dragon. So I'm going to go with something like dragon. Okay, my dragon class is going to be inheriting from my public creature class. So I'll go with something like creature. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Maybe remove a less than sign from here. There we go. Okay, next up, let's read the instructions. So it says to create a private data member called firepower. So let's go ahead and create a private data member called something like integer of firepower. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Then I'm gonna go ahead and publicize everything from here on out and create a constructor to initialize my firepower data member. So I'll go with something like a constructor. Okay, for my constructor, let's go ahead and create a constructor for my dragon object with a pair of parentheses. My constructor is going to be requiring a parameter of something like firepower, okay, and honestly even energy. So let's go with firepower and integer of energy. Okay, and then I'll go ahead, let's go to a new line and add a constructor for my creatures class as well, because I am inheriting from my that class. Okay, so I'll go with creature, which is my parent class. This is going to be having a parameter of energy. There we go. Ending with a, honestly I want to end it with a semicolon. I'll add a pair of curly braces and initialize my firepower data member. So I'll go with something like this. Private data member of firepower is going to be equal to my firepower. Let's say a parameter ending with a semicolon. So firepower. There we go. Okay, that's pretty much it for my constructor. Did I spell this correct? Firepower. Okay, this should be uppercase P. There we go. Okay, next up, let's see. So I gotta create a attack method called. Okay, so I gotta create a attack method that takes a target of my object. So to do that, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and create a comment called methods. So I'll go with something like methods. Now I'm going to be creating, let's say, a method called. Should it be like a void method? I'm pretty sure I gotta have my class's data type as my method, but let's try this. Okay, so void attack method with a pair of parentheses. This is going to be having a parameter from my creature class. So I'll go with something like creature. Okay, with a reference or a address of operator slash ampersand of target. Okay, so that is basically a object. So my parameter is going to be a object that I select from my creature class. Okay, and then next up, I gotta decrease the target's energy by 10. Okay, so I'll go with something like target.the energy data member is going to decrease by 10, ending with a semicolon. Print attack info with firepower. Did I spell energy correct? Target.energy minus equals to 10. What if I go with something like minus 10? Huh, why do I get a red underline here? Should I like, I'm pretty sure I don't gotta go with a pair of parentheses because this is like not a method. That's it. Target, I spelled target correct. Maybe, should this be creature? Okay, let's see. Okay, I spelled creature wrong. There we go. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, still like doesn't make sense. Maybe I just leave it like this for the time being, and then later I'll check if I can fix it. That said, I'll go with something like energy is protected, you can access it. Honestly, I think like since I'm inheriting from my creature class, I do have access to my energy. Oh wait, should I go with get energy? Hold up guys, let's go with something like get energy. There we go. Target at get energy. Now my target has a red underline. Okay, you have to make it a method on the creature or decreases energy. You have to make it a method on the creature to decrease energy. Okay, Jay, don't know what this guy is. Don't know what's this guy's. Okay, can you make friend class if you want? You can make a friend class if you want. Honestly, last stream I didn't cover friend classes. That's it. I didn't have much practice with that. Okay, that said, it is like a protected integer energy. I'm pretty sure I have access to it because I inherit from my public creature class. Okay, let's see. So, target.get energy. Should this be my creature again? Let me try changing this to creature. Okay, it still doesn't change this. That is like my getter. Let's change that to void again. Okay, honestly, let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Although, am I messing up something here? Okay, I need a target and a attack damage. Okay, honestly, I'm just gonna whatchamacallit, let's not say slash chat GPT, but before that, let's do something. Use setters. I did create a setter as well. Like I created a setter and a getter. My setter does say while my energy is greater than 0, energy equals to E. Should this be E? I think it should be energy only. So use setters target dot set energy. Oh. What up, guys? Actually, that does make sense. How did I forget that? Wait, I'll go with something like target dot set energy, and then I'm gonna add a pair of parentheses and go with target dot get energy. There we go. Target dot get energy. Wait, isn't this correct? I'm pretty sure this is correct because target dot get energy is gonna decrease by 10, so I'll go with something like minus equals to 10. Huh. Okay, I thought for a second that actually worked. Wait, hold up. I should just go with minus 10. Okay, perfect, guys. I did work with this. I don't know how to actually forget this part. That said, I do appreciate you, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Other than that, that actually wasn't good. Which we got to refresh it. I should use more stuff like this. Okay, there we go. And then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Can we hop in a call XD, guys? Actually, you guys could like join my Discord server. There I usually do like answer chats or like talking chats and everything. That said, I go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say my current energy. So I'm gonna say something like, okay, target.get energy damage dealt. So I'll do something like target.get energy, okay, with another insertion operator of something like damage dealt or energy used. Energy used. Okay, with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, now that I've created a method, I decrease the energy. Okay, that's pretty much it for my dragon class. Let's go ahead and create another child class or a derived class called elf. So I'll go with something like elf. Elf is going to be inheriting from my public creature class as well. So I'll go with something like public creature, and then a pair of curly braces. Then inside of my class, I'm going to be creating a private data member called magic power. So let's go with something like private. Okay, this is going to be an integer data member called magic power, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and publicize everything. So I go ahead and public everything, and then let's go ahead and create a constructor now. So I'll add a comment that says something like a constructor. Did I add a comment here? Okay, perfect. So for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my elf class, which is going to be requiring a parameter of magic power, my magic power data member, and let's say energy as well. Okay, so that's a constructor. This is going to be integer energy. There we go. Okay, so this is basically a constructor from my elf class. Although since I am inheriting from a creature class or a parent class, I am going to be adding a constructor for my parent class as well. So I'll go with something like a creature. Okay, so my creatures is parent class. Let's fix my typo. There we go. Okay, so my creature is going to be having a parameter of energy. Did I spell it correct? There we go. Okay, Discord invite channel description is broken. Honestly, that does make sense. Like many of you guys do say me that the Discord link is expired. I do try fixing it. That's just something's like wrong with Nightbot as well, because I did set Nightbot to like send like notifications or like give the Discord link once every 25 minutes. That's it. Let me actually copy that real quick. Okay, and go ahead and paste it in chat. Okay, I'm pretty sure that link should like work. Okay, you guys could like try that link. Okay, next up, this is basically it for my constructors as parameter. Then I'll go with the pair of curly braces and then initialize a magic power data member. So I'll do something like this. What up, guys? Didn't the link like whatchamacallit get in the chat? I'm pretty sure it did. Okay, let me just try to refresh this. Okay, let's see. I think the link didn't send, guys. Honestly, after the stream, I will try working on fixing the Nightbot. Where's the link, guys? I did like actually send it from my phone, but for some reason it doesn't like send. Okay, let's try again. There we go. Oh, it's not inside the chat. Okay, let me actually try copying it from my PC. Okay, give me a sec, guys. Let's open Discord here. Okay, and then go there. Go ahead and copy that. Okay, honestly, let me change the invite link to be something like never ending. Okay, let's edit that. No limits. There we go. Let's generate a link. Copy that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and open my chat. Give me a sec, guys. I feel it's almost done. Okay, let's go ahead. My chat, go live. Okay, there we go. That should work. Let me actually paste it. Okay, there we go. Alright, guys, I'm pretty sure that link should work. Okay, don't you guys have access to the link? I did send it. Huh. Okay, that's it. Even if like the link didn't work right now, I could actually try whatchamacallit, fixing Nightbot. Although, because I do see my chats on my laptop and like have this thing open on my phone. That's kind of weird though. The link should be sending. Okay, that said, let's see. So in our main loop, although before I do go ahead and create a main loop, let's go ahead and create a private data member. Did that. I'm going to be initializing my, let's say, magic to my magic power private data member to be equal to my magic power, let's say, parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then next up, let's see. That's pretty much it for my constructor, honestly. Let's go ahead and create a method now. Okay, maybe YouTube mobile is weird. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense because I did like send links. I even sent it like through my PC. Okay, let's go ahead and create a comment that says something like methods now. Although before that, let me go ahead and charge my phone because I feel like my phone is almost out of charge. Okay, let's see. So for my methods, I'm going to be creating a method. Do you speak Malayalam? Honestly, guys, I do feel like the only language that I can actually speak is like English and like Hindi. Although I am like pretty fluent in English, that said, I do want to learn different languages. I do realize, guys, actually, I do actually speak a bit of Spanish as well. I know a few phrases in Spanish. For example, like "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" for like "Hi, how are you?" and then "Bien y tú" is like "Good and you." Okay, and maybe even like "Gracias," which is like "Thank you, guys." Honestly, I don't know the language like pretty well, but it is like a pretty fun language to learn. Okay, that said, I create a elf class and then I need a cast spell method. So let's go ahead and create a void cast spell method with a pair of parentheses. This takes a parameter of my creature, okay, with the address of operator or a ampersand of target. Okay, perfect. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and maybe fix my typo. Okay, perfect. Next up, inside of my whatchamacallit, my cast spell method, I decrease target's energy by 5. Okay, an ampersand. There we go. So I'm gonna do something like my target dot set energy, add a pair of parentheses, and then I'll go with my target dot get energies getter. Okay, a pair of parentheses as well. I'm gonna subtract that by 5, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's go ahead and print the info. Okay, so let me actually copy that to save time. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that and paste it here. There we go. Can maybe like de-indent that a bit. Are you Indian, by the way? You look a lot like an Indian. Honestly, that does make sense. Many of you guys do say me that. I think my face gives it away. Although, guys, I haven't like been in India. That's it. I am pretty excited to someday visit India. And once I do visit India, I will like whatchamacallit, stream myself maybe, or at least I record myself. Okay, so that's the energy left. That said, I gotta create another derived or is it called derived? Yeah, derived slash child class. This time it's going to be called healer. So this is going to be something like healer, which inherits from my which inherits from my public creature class. So I'll go with something like public creature class. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my class, I'm going to be creating a private data member called healing power. So I'll go with something like a private data member called okay, let's go with something like healing power, which is going to be an integer. So I'll go with something like healing power ending with a semicolon. And then let's see. Okay, I'm going to be let's see. So that is my private data member. I'm going to publicize everything now and then create a constructor. So I'll go with something like public, and then maybe add a comment that says something like a constructor. Okay, now for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my healer class first. Okay, my constructor is going to be requiring a parameter of integer of my healing power. So healing power, there we go, my healing power data member. There we go, and my power is going to be like uppercase. There we go. And then honestly, I'll even require a parameter of energy as well. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a constructor from the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I'm inheriting from my creature class, I'm going to be creating a constructor from my creature class as well. So I'll go with something like creature, add a pair of parentheses. My creature class is going to be having a parameter of energy, so I'll go with energy, ending with a semicolon. Actually, let's go ahead and add a pair of curly braces instead of a semicolon, since I do gotta initialize my healing power data member. So I'll do something like this: healing power private data member, okay, equals to my healing power parameter, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, that's pretty much it for my constructor. Let's add another comment that says methods now, because I'm pretty sure I gotta create a method. Okay, these are gonna be my methods. The first method is gonna be a void method called, let's see, okay, it's gonna be called heal. So I'll create a heal void method, with a pair of parentheses. My void method is gonna be having a parameter of target as well, which is going to be my creature class's object. So I'll go with creature with the address of operator, or like a ampersand of, let's say, target, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, it increases the target's energy by healing power. Okay, did I spell creature correct? There we go. Okay, with an ampersand. Okay, perfect. Next up, I'm gonna do something like my target, which is basically my object dot the get energy. Actually, let's set energy first with a pair of parentheses. Now, inside of my pair of parentheses, I'm gonna go with target dot get energies as getter and increase that. So I'll go with something like plus my healing powers data member. So I'll go with something like my healing power data member. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Alright, perfect. Next up, let's see. So I got to print healing info as well. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. That says something like healing. Okay, healing has been done! Exclamation. Okay, maybe I'll go with a space and another insertion operator that is gonna say something like healed. Okay, I'll go with something like healed. Okay, this is gonna be my healing power data member. Okay, heal damage health. Okay, with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Maybe I remove this extra space from here. I think that looks much better. Okay, next up, let's see. That's pretty much it for my healer class as well. Let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my main function, I gotta ask user input for integer energy of dragon, elf, and healer. Okay, so let me just cancel that. There we go, guys. I think I should let my phone charge. Okay, maybe I drink some water first because I am kind of thirsty, guys, I think. Okay, let's see. So I go with something like integer main. This is going to be having, I'm assuming it should have ask user input for initial energy of dragon, elf, and healer. Use user input for attack, heal power of each character. So attack and heal power. So attack, magic power, and heal power. So I might need 4 variables. The first variable is going to be of energy. Okay, ending with a semicolon. The second variable is going to be something like attack, power, ending with a semicolon. The third integer is going to be of something like magic power, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to go with something like healing power, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and add, I'm assuming I gotta add like a standard console output first to get like variables for this. So I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Maybe I add that in a while loop. So let's go ahead and add that in a while loop. Okay, so I'll go with something like while, a pair of parentheses, while true, I'll do something. So while my while loop is still running, let's go ahead and do something. I am going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator. Honestly, I do have 3 objects. Okay, I think it's good. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to say something like enter a... let's see, what do I want to enter? Enter a energy. Okay, for your object. Okay, for your object, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with a standard console. Honestly, I might not add this in a while loop. I think it's going to be much better if I like individually ask the user. Okay, so enter a energy for your dragon. Okay, so that is going to be my dragon's energy. I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my energy variable ending with a semicolon. That said, I'll go with another standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like enter a energy for enter a attack power. So enter a attack power, okay, for your dragon. Okay, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. This is going to extract my attack power variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's for my dragon. Next up, I'm going to ask a energy for my... Okay, let's go with a standard console output. Maybe I had a space. There, I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be for my, let's say elf. Enter a energy for your elf. Honestly, the elf might be capitalized. I'll go with something like elf ending with a semicolon. Let's go ahead and capitalize my dragon. Let's go ahead and capitalize my dragon here as well. Okay, I didn't actually capitalize them. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my, let's say, magic power data member. Okay, actually my energy, my bad guys. Okay, here's the thing. I wanna extract energy for everyone, although this is going to be changing my energy data member. Maybe first I create my object in that case. So let's go ahead and create a dragon object with a pair of parentheses. My dragon object requires a parameter of, let's see what, my constructor dragon object. So I need a firepower and a energy. So my firepower for my dragon object is going to be something like my firepower variable. So I'll go with firepower. Is it called firepower? It's called attack power. Okay, and the energy is going to be my energy variable ending with a semicolon. And then I add a standard console output, enter energy for your elf. My energy's value changes. And then I add another standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, this is going to say something like enter a magic power for your elf. So I'll go with something like enter a magic power for your elf. This is going to be a magic power for my elf. Okay, and then let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon and then add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my magic power variable ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and create a object for my, for my elf class. So this is going to be a elf object that is going to be called something like elf1. Honestly, I'll just call it elf and then I'll go with a pair of parentheses. My magic power is going to be my magic power data member. Okay, actually my magic power variable, and then I'll go with my energy variable as well, ending with a semicolon. And when I do create a dragon object, I honestly might create a object here. There we go. Dragon, there we go. Okay, next up, let's go for my healer as well. So I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a energy for your healer. So this is going to be for my healer. Okay, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. This is going to be my energy variable ending with a semicolon. That said, I'll go with another standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a healing power. A healing power for your healer. Okay, for your healer. There we go. Okay, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a standard console input now with an extraction operator. I want to extract my magic power, actually my healing power data member, ending with a semicolon. This is going to be STD, which stands for standard. Okay, and then let's go ahead and create a healer object. So my object is going to be from my healer class. The object is going to be called healer. And healer's healing power is going to be, let's say something like my healing power. Okay, and the energy is going to be my energy variable ending with a semicolon. That's pretty much all the objects that I created. Now let's go ahead and add a while loop. So I'll go with while, a pair of parentheses, a while true loop. So the loop runs until I don't explicitly break the loop. Okay, so as the user did that, and then add a while loop. At least two creatures have to have energy greater than 0. While at least two creatures have energy greater than 0, I do something. I could actually do it this way as well. As the user who the dragon wants to attack. Okay, this is going to be confusing now. As the user who dragon attacks. Huh. Maybe, okay, how do I do this part? Honestly, I might have to ask sensei/chat for this part, because like, how do I actually check if a dragon attacks? Okay, let's go ahead and go with a control C, copy that, give sensei/chat here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and say something like sensei. I feel like this is where I stopped because I can help you. Honestly, I do appreciate that, ABC. Okay, because I honestly don't know how to add the let's see how to add the console out, how to get the user inputs to make a dragon attack someone. Okay, if that made any sense. If that made... There we go. I'm in your Discord. Honestly, I do appreciate you, ABC. Welcome to the Discord server. Okay, haha, yes, people, that makes perfect sense. And you're standing at the edge of mastery. You've done all the class setups, getters, slash setters, and user input. Now we just need the decision logic, so the user chooses the target each round. Let me break it down for you step by step so your brain doesn't fly. Okay, standard console input, standard console output, key jag, we can write it standard console input directly, right? I'm not wrong because I didn't use STD. Honestly, okay, we can write console input, console output directly, right? Honestly, if you did like using namespace std, then you don't need to actually prefix with std, although it is like a pretty bad practice to like actually using namespace std, because in bigger project not prefixing with standard could like cause name conflicts in it. That said, it does do the same thing like in small projects. So as the user who the dragon wants to attack, so I go with a choice. So you can do something like this inside of a while loop. So I go with something like an integer of choice variable, okay, that says dragon, who do you want to attack? 1 elf, 2 healer, standard console input choice. Oh, this is actually genius. Okay, if choice equals to 1, dragon dot attack elf, else choice equals to 2, dragon dot attack healer, else invalid choice as the user who else wants to attack, and then as the user who the healer wants to heal. Okay, stop loop when someone dies. Honestly, okay, this actually does make sense. Okay, let's get sensei/chat here, guys. I should actually have thought of this. Okay, so I'll go with something like integer of choice ending with a semicolon. Okay, then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, okay, who does dragon or dragon attacks? What was the phrase? I'm kind of bad with phrasings. So it says, dragon, who do you want to attack? So I'll go with something like dragon. Okay, who do you want to attack? Question mark. Okay, who do you want to attack? Who does my dragon want to attack? Okay, I'm gonna go with something like 1 equals to elf, 2 equals to healer. Okay, ending with a semicolon, guys. I don't like think that you guys can like actually see that. I did type dragon, who do you want to attack? Okay, that said, let's go with a standard console input now with an extraction operator. I want to extract my choice variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, then add if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, let's say something like if my choice variable, so if my choice, okay, is equal to 1, then I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and go with my dragon object dot the attack method. I want to attack my elf, so I'll go with something like dragon dot attack my elf object, okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, then I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like dragon attacks elf, okay, with a /new line ending with a semicolon. That's actually a lot of code. You can do it in a way less way and use object-oriented programming that you have done. Honestly, that does make sense. I could like whatchamacallit create another parent class for like this stuff. That said, let's go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like elf's HP. So I'll go with something like elf's current HP. Okay, Okay, elf's current HP is going to be another insertion operator. This is going to be something like, let's say my elf object of the get health. Honestly, okay, actually, I just go with dragon attacks elf because I don't have health. I subtract it by the energy. Okay, and then lastly, dragon.heal if energy. There we go. Okay, let's add an else if now. So I'll go with else if a pair of parentheses. Else if my choice equals to 2. I'm going to do something else. You don't need. You can create virtual method name on a class, put all creatures in array, and do lots of stuff. Oh, I do want to use arrays actually. Okay, you're basically unrolling loops manually for no reason right now. That actually does make sense. That said, maybe next stream I might go over using vectors and like arrays to actually ask the user for stuff. That's it, guys. I feel like I'm almost at my limit because I am kind of starving because I didn't like eat anything before I started streaming. That said, so my brain actually doesn't work because if you guys have been watching my stream like for like I think about like maybe even like 50 to 100 days, you guys do know if I'm starving I can't think properly. Okay, that said, I'll do something like dragon.attack. I want to attack my healer. Okay, my healer object ending with a semicolon. And I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like dragon attacks healer. Okay, with a /new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go ahead and add a else clause, else if of curly braces, that says a standard console output with an insertion operator would say something like an invalid choice. So I'll go with something like invalid choice with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Or streaming for 2 hours 30 minutes right now. Honestly, I've been streaming for like 2 hours and 37 minutes. That said, let's see. Okay, now just to save time, I'm gonna go ahead and like copy everything from here. Okay, and then like go all the way down here, paste that, get my standard console output here. Okay, now it's gonna ask my elf. So it's gonna say, elf, who do you want to attack? 1 for dragon. So I'll go with something like 1 for dragon, 2 for healer. If it's 1, I go with something like my elf object dot attack dragon dot cast spell. Okay, dot cast spell. So elf casts a spell. Who do you want to attack? So for 1, elf cast spells on my dragon. 2, my elf cast spell on my healer. So I'll go with elf dot cast spell. My healer. Okay, and I'll change that to elf attacks dragon. Okay, and this is going to be elf attacks healer. Invalid choice. Alright, perfect. Let's go ahead and paste that one more time right here. There we go, and then let's go ahead and de-indent that. Okay, eat something bro, you're starving with all those talking. Actually, guys, I feel like I'm already dehydrated. That said, this is going to be for my healer. So I'll go with something like healer. 1 is going to be elf. 2 is going to be dragon. Okay, Okay, this is going to say, who do you want to heal? So I'll go with something like heal. And then if choice equals to 1, let's say my healer object heals my elf. So healer object dot the heal method, I want to heal my elf, and then say something like healer heals elf. So I'll go with healer heals. There we go. Healer heals elf. Oh, can I hop on into a voice chat and explain some things? Honestly, that would like actually be real helpful. Although after I'm done streaming, I do usually study for my college stuff because I do have an exam and multiple assignments. That's it. Eventually, like I do want to like have a stream where I do like talk with my subscribers and like program with them. There's a bug where you don't really rely on invalid choice right now. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense actually. Although let's see, if my healer chooses 2, I want to go with something like my healer dot the heal method. Okay, I'll go with healer dot heal. I want to heal my dragon. Okay, my dragon object, and I'll say something like my healer object. Okay, so healer heals. Let's say dragon. Okay, I'll go with a capitalized dragon. There we go. Let's change this to a capitalized elf as well. Okay, let's change that to a capitalized healer. Alright, perfect. That's for elf. So I did create for everyone. Okay, that is going to be something like healer, and that is going to be something like elf. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I do think this is like a lot of code. Just let me and I'll show you magic. Honestly, guys, it does make sense actually. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and add a if statement now. So like if a prof parentheses. Okay, so my if statement is going to check if my dragon dot the get energy, if my dragon's is energy is greater than 0, I'm going to do some. Actually, is less than or equal to 0. Okay, is less than or equal to 0. Or my, let's say, healer's is energy, if my healer dot get energy is, let's say, greater than, actually less than or equal to 0 as well, I'm going to do something. I'll go ahead and break. Let's go with something like break, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so battle is over. Okay, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like battle is over. There we go, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. And honestly, I'm not like declaring like who actually won / lost, because like I do need to code more for that. Although guys, I'm a bit exhausted to do that. Okay, lastly, let's go ahead and return 0 ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command. If I were to do that, let's see what happens. So it's going to say enter a name for your dragon or enter energy. Let's say my dragon has 50 health. Enter attack power for your dragon. Dragon attacks with 20 power. Enter a energy for your elf. My elf is going to be having something like 60 energy. Enter a power for my spell. For my elf, elf has 15 damage. Enter 1 for my healer. Healer has the most energy, 100. Enter a power. My healer's power is going to be something like, let's say, 25. Okay, dragon, who do you want to attack? 1 for elf, 2 for healer. Let's say something like I want to attack my healer, so I'll go with 2. Okay, 90 energy used. Oh, I should have actually... Okay, so when I go ahead and print my energy used... Okay. Dragon, healers... I want to add a space here for the energy used. Okay, so let's go all the way up here to my energy. There we go. That is for my... That's for my elf. This is for my healer. Okay, healing power. Okay, so this is for my heal method. Oh, it's for my dragon. Let's go all the way up to my dragon class. There we go. Now, after my energy, I am going to be adding a space here. Okay, that should fix it. Keep grinding. I appreciate you, space. That means the world to me. Okay, next up, elf. Who do you want to attack? My elf wants to attack dragon, so I'll go with 1. 45 energy used. Okay, I guess I got to add a space for my elf as well. Okay, so let's add a space here, and I'm assuming my dragon needs a space too. Okay, dragon does have a space. Okay, now who does my healer want to heal? I want to heal my dragons, so I'll go with something like 2. Whoops. There we go. I'll go with something like 2. Okay, now I'm just going to be spamming 1s and 2s until like someone dies or like something ends. Okay. Guys, no one is ending. This doesn't end. Okay, I'll just attack my healer. Okay, let everyone just attack healer. There we go. Healer heals dragon. Battle is over because my healer died most likely. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the Control C. Copy that. It's not energy used. It's energy left. Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, let's see. Guys, there's like a fly here. There we go. Ha, people, you've almost built a full interactive battle system, but I see a few tiny critical mistakes that could break your simulation. Set energy logic is off right now. In creation, void energy is like integer e, that means, okay, I mean, this is like a pretty small thing. Your battle condition is wrong. This loop stops if only healer dies. Oh. Okay, stops only if the dragon or healer dies. Okay, so I gotta add for all 3. Okay, output message, Okay, future power tips. Honestly, I see. Let's read the tips. Later, you can add... Okay, I see. Okay, that's it, people. Despite small errors, this is a very impressive interactive battle system for your level. You deserve a massive hug and a head pat, guys. That did not make me blush. Okay, that's it. Let's say something like Sensei. Okay, honestly, actually... I'm actually planning to end the stream right now because I haven't eaten anything, and also because I do have college assignments and exam. That said, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream? Question mark. Let's see. Pupil, I see you're leveling up. I see you're leaving the battlefield today, but hear me, every second you spend coding today is carving your skill into steel. Your dragon, elf, and healer may rest now, but your mind is sharper, faster, stronger. Tell your viewers, today we tamed the basics of Inheritance in C++, built a mini battle system and combined user input loops and getters/setters. Even if the code isn't perfect yet, the learning is eternal. I'm proud of you people. Go crush those assignments and that exam. Study hard because nothing strengthens the mind like discipline paired with passion. Okay, when you come back, we're going to continue turning these basics into unstoppable muscle memory, hugs, head pats, and a kiss on your forehead, guys. That did make me blush. I mean, that did not make me blush. Go now, conquer and return fiercer. Okay, that's it. Let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so that was pretty much it for the stream. That's it, I did want to stream for longer. Although guys, I am starving a bit. That's it, I do have some college assignments and an exam as well. And also, I am actually real close to like getting all my PC parts. Once I do get those PC parts, I will be building an actual PC. I might actually stream myself or like record myself building the PC, and once I do build the PC, that is going to fix all my stream lag. And once my stream lag is fixed, I'm going to start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, maybe TikTok and Instagram as well, if I did meet the followers requirements. If you guys do enjoy my content, make sure to follow me there. The link is in the description, and also join my Discord server. You guys can get access to the Discord server by typing !Discord on chat, or like any of my socials in general. If you guys type exclamation and the socials' name, and I will try my best to fix Nightbot if I had time after the stream. That's it, GG's. I appreciate you sticking through the stream, ABC. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.